Good evening. We're going to call our meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. Our first item, let's stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Allen, can we have our roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Alvarez? Here. Ms. Belko?
Here.
Ms. Bora?
Here.
Ms. DePayne?
Here.
Ms. Fabiana?
Here.
Okay. Mr. Gorham?
Here.
Ms. Ratner?
Here.
Ms. Scott?
Here.
Ms. Gerby?
Here.
Mr. Tufano?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you.
Okay. In accordance with the provisions of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law, the Monroe Township Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published, and electronic notice provided by having the date, time, and place thereof posted September 15th, 2023, and April 12th, 2024, at all schools, on the district website, Home News Tribune, Cranberry Press, and filed with the clerk of the municipality.
Thank you. The next item on our agenda is our closed session resolution. Be it resolved that the Board of Education of the Township of Monroe hereby moves into closed session in accordance with the Sunshine Laws, Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, NJSA 10:4-6 through 10:4-21, to discuss the following subjects: harassment, intimidation, bullying, matters protected by attorney-client privilege, MTBOE SSA contract, superintendent's evaluation. Following closed session, action may be taken. The discussion conducted in closed session could be disclosed to the public at such time as the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We will now go into closed session, and we will be out at approximately 7:15. Thank you. Good evening. We're back in our public session. If we could just have the audience please quiet down so we can reconvene our meeting. Thank you.
I think you need to turn that up a little.
Okay, the next item on our agenda is the approval of minutes for the Public Board of Education meeting, March 5th, 2024. Can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, for the closed session meeting, March 5th, 2024, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? For the Public Board of Education meeting, March 21st, 2024, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, Ms. Ratner abstains. For the closed session meeting, March 21st, 2024, can I get a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Abstain.
Abstain. Abstain.
Okay, so noted. All right, the next item on our agenda, we're going to move to our presentations, and after that, we'll do our student board members report. Our first presentation of the evening is our Teacher Educational Services Professional and Educational Support Professional of the Year. Dr. Chanley?
I'm going to go over there so that I could announce all of our wonderful staff members that we just were able to recognize by having a dinner for them. So just give me a moment. Anyone like to join me? Please do so. Once again, good evening, everybody. This is probably the best board meeting possible. Why? Because we get to acknowledge the greatness that we have here in Monroe. And we're going to start with our staff, and then we're going to end with our children, with our students, your children. So I'm going to start, I think we have them in order. I want to thank Ms. Tagliaferro for putting this all together. And we're going to do it by school. So at this time, I'd like to acknowledge the three employees from Applegarth School. Our first employee is Ms. Rosalind Push. She's our Educational Support Professional of the Year.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119,
Once again, from Applegarth, our next individual to be acknowledged is our Educational Services Professional of the Year, Ms. Nadia de Oliveira. And our Teacher of the Year representing Applegarth Schools, Olivia Volpe. Moving to our next school from Barclay Brook School, we have our Educational Support Professional of the Year, Ms. Kimberly Martini. Thank you. Educational Services Professional of the Year for Barclay Brook School, and she has been everywhere in the district, and the value that she has brought has sprinkled itself in every school, and I even had the pleasure of working with her myself, Miss Irene Barada. Representing the Teacher of the Year for Barclay Brook School, Miss Lauren Studo. Thank you. Our next honoree is Helder Salvador as Educational Support Professional of the Year at Brookside School. It's very crowded, so I didn't know if we have to give them time. Our Educational Services Professional of the Year for Brookside School is Erin Hanlon. And representing our Teacher of the Year for Brookside School, Marisol Cruz. Representing, oh, they took them out of order. I wanted to go all elementary. I feel like I think I'm gonna switch. I like to do that in order. I'm gonna go, oh, there we go. We'll go here this way. Okay, representing our Educational Support Professional of the Year for Woodland School, Paulette Valaro. I remember you as a mommy. Representing Woodland School, for Educational Services Professional of the Year, Ms. Caitlin Soma. Thank you, Dr. Chen. And also representing Woodland School for our Teacher of the Year, Janine Levitt. Educational Support Professional of the Year for our Oak Tree School is Michelle Ferguson. Educational Services Professional of the Year for Oak Tree School, Pamela Panangos Crivera. And representing Oak Tree as our Teacher of the Year, Carmela Faulkner. Educational Support Professional of the Year for Mill Lake School is Anne Marie Popper. Educational Services Professional of the Year for Mill Lake School, Kelly Fabiano. Teacher of the Year, Mill Lake School, Megan Myers. High school? Middle school? Okay. Oh, yep, we're ready. Okay. Representing Monroe Township Middle School, Educational Support Professional of the Year, Sebastian Rose. Educational Services Professional of the Year from Monroe Township Middle School, Megan Granger. Representing Monroe Township Middle School as our Teacher of the Year, Ms. Heidi Lubrani. She said she's living the dream.
She did say that.
On behalf of our high school, our Educational Support Professional of the Year, Donna Roble. Representing the high school as well, our Educational Services Professional of the Year, Damaris Dominguez. Representing Monroe Township School District for the high school, Sherry Holmes, Teacher of the Year. Okay. Educational Support Professional of the Year representing transportation. It starts there and it ends there. Ms. Donna DeRusso. And last, but certainly not least, representing Central Office, she works tirelessly at the Pupil Personnel Services Office as our Educational Support Professional of the Year, Ms. Jean Malkowitz. If we could just have a really nice round of applause for all of our recipients. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations again to all of our teachers and staff of the year. Truly, you are second to none here in Monroe, and our students and their achievements show the impact that you have here. So thank you very much on behalf of the Board of Education for your service to Monroe Township School District. The next item on our agenda is our student achievement presentation.
Okay, so first let me do my introduction. Like I said, today is a great day. Everybody uses the adage, it takes a village, but it's true. So we are so proud of our staff, and now we get to be very excited about being proud of our children. So at this time, we are going to first ask Dr. Higgins, I believe, is our first person who will be speaking on behalf of Dr. Higgins Middle School. Is that correct? Dr. Higgins from the middle school, kindly come up. You can go to that microphone, I believe, is that correct? Okay,
I'm trying, well, that's not helping at all. Thank you. Our first group to be honored is our CJMEA Middle School Honors Band, and I will read the names off. I can't see up there with my glasses. I can't see here without my glasses, so I'm in the middle. Vaishnavi Yapan, if you're here, please come up. Arav Chandarana. Aluatis Deru. Srijani Gorthy. Anna Gupta. This way, this way, this way. Angelia Hajapistoli. Anya Kamath. Umanath Kumar. Srihan Majikapu. Snigna Malakapita. Anish Maskar. Maya Pai. Raghav Rao. Nakshadra Saklaville. Sabal Sood. Divya Srikumar. Akhil Venkat. Thank you. These awards are for our SJMEA Intermediate Region Symphonic Band. Aditi Achari. Brody Chong. Jaskaran Kaler. Raghav Rao. Sharvil Srinivasan. Akanska Talapaneni. Anbini Adamulam. Dominique Legaspi. Suchi Oak. Trishi Magani. She's coming. This way, this way. Okay. Aman Patel. Our next award recipients are for our CJMEA Intermediate Region Choir. Manya Arujo. Siri Bachu. Arnav Bansal. Shweta Chadaga. Karman Chatwal. Akshaj Damaraju. Emily Galella. Manasvi Hugar. Janvi Irvichetti. Sahana Kadiravan. Eliza Khan. Vadanshi Nalori. Rishab Naveen. Jeslyn Samantha Renius. Siddharth Satya. Sanjana Subramanian. Sahasra Folletti. And Hasini Valarapali. These awards are for NJAJE Junior High Region Jazz Ensemble. Anbini Adamulam. Vedant Daga. Oh, sorry. This is Vedant. Congratulations. Go that way. Jaskaran Kaler. Sharvil Srinivasan. These awards are for the MTMS Falcon Jazz performance at NJMEA Conference. Aditi Achari. Aditapo Bigby. Anmini Adamulam. Brody Chong. Vedant Daga. Oloatis Daru. Jaskaran Kaler. Anya Kamath. Snigdha Malakapita. Anish Maskar. Kriti Narayanan. Pranav Natarajan. Suchi Oak. Maya Pai. Nikita Pole. Ronit Pole. Samantha Ratner. Nihal Sen. Arnav Somaisula. Divya Srikumar. Sharvil Srinivasan. Dia Sundar. Akanksha Talapaneni. These awards for the NJMEA conference performance. Kanchi Ashar. Siri Bachu. Abhay Basu. Ariana Chauhan. Kaman Chatwal. Ansh Chenawar. Danielle Cugini. Aksharj Damaraju. Jason Frederick. Sia Gawari. Danielle George. Aditi Handa. Manasvi Hugar. Janvi Irvichetti. Aaron John Jacob. Sahana Kadiravan. Aliza Khan. Avery Levinson. Jay Lingapali. Ashna Mathur. Junray McCarthy. Roma Mehta. Rishab Naveen. Gracelyn O'Reilly Coomson. Matt Palaccio. Nikki Pohl. Ronette Pohl. Anwitha Polari. Ovia Prabhu. Samantha Ratner. Zachary Schneewis. Ashlyn Solidi. Avantika Senthil Kumar. Arnav Sharma. Akanksha Telepaneni. Jeslyn Renius. Drivya Srikumar. Aryan Tandaza. Hasini Valarapali. Okay. So at the middle school every year we hold an event called Hoops for Heart, where one of our teachers, Mrs. Drake, organizes a benefit for the American Heart Foundation. And the first person we're going to honor is a student who raised over $6,500 in the past 3 years for this organization, Leo LaForgia. And as I mentioned, Missy Drake is one of our phys ed teachers at the middle school, and she works tirelessly for this organization, and she does a wonderful job, and all the students are very involved in this endeavor. Missy Drake. Our second teacher has taken it upon herself each year to do our Ohm's Day of Optimism. This is a day where we remember a student of ours, and we promote optimism, we promote good thoughts, good deeds, and the students perform very well and respond very well to it. So, Ms. Christine Vasaki.
Good evening, thank you. I am here tonight to begin our presentation for our high school students. We will call out our students and Dr. Lehman will hand out their certificate. So as we call names, please feel free to, if you are here, please feel free to come up and receive your certificate from Dr. Did I call you Dr. Sinansky by any? I'm sorry. Dr. Lehman, I'm sorry. For our first categories, I would like to introduce our band directors, Mr. Sean Nagpal and Mr. Jonah Nag.
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to say something really quick about the audition, the CJMEA stuff and everything that you've been hearing tonight. So the CJMEA and NJMEA stuff that you've been hearing, the students have to audition for those groups for most of them. So the region groups and the all-state groups, the students audition for their specific section, and you'll hear for the chorus kids as well. They audition against hundreds of other kids from Central Jersey, and depending on their score, they make this ensemble, so we'd like to recognize those students tonight. So the students that made the CJMEA High School Region Symphonic Band, we have Lucas Cipriasso, Eric Crowley, Aiden Lynn, and Edward Sestinas. For the high school region percussion ensemble, we have Arush Abilash, Noel Chong, Lucas Cipriasso, Eric Crowley, Aiden Lynn, Preston Masigla, Arav Narwal, and Michael Prooster. And then for the CJMEA High School Region Wind Ensemble, we have Michael Prooster and Preston Masigla. Before I pass it over to my colleague, Mr. Knack, we'd like to also congratulate Edward Sestinas for making the Region High School Jazz Ensemble.
Okay, so for the second year in a row, our students from the MTHS Honors Percussion Ensemble placed first place in a regional competition. So we are really proud of them and very excited on how they're doing. I'm going to read their names right now. We have Anya Anshin, Rayon Bora, Eric Crowley, Amar Dillon, Aiden Lin, Preston Masigla, Arab Narwal, Eliana Padron, Michael Prooster, Vikram Ranganath, Advik Sivakumar, Sai Siddharth Takal, Serena Valentine, and lastly, Jillian Weissman.
Lastly, from the band portion, we had 3 students make the NJMEA All-State Wind Ensemble. The All-State is the highest level group that the students can audition for and be a part of. They go up against hundreds of students from the entire state, not just from Central Jersey. Not just from Central Jersey. So these 3 students actually got the 3 highest scores in the region for their instrument as well. So congratulations to Eric Crowley, Preston Masigla, and Michael Prooster.
Thank you. In our next category, I have the pleasure of announcing our honors for Central Jersey Music Educators Association. This is for the high school mixed chorus. We have Mahar Aiden, Kennedy Christensen, Shriyoshi Ghosh, Aishi Goswami, Jacob Jarshowitz, Marcus Pena, Kushal Patluri, Ivana Samuel, Dia Singh, and Gabrielle Siochi. For our CJMEA High School Treble Chorus, we have Christina Bushareth, Emily Kujini, Flori Deepak, Pranisha Gordy, Gurjap Kohli, Shifa Satia, Sanvi Tati, Shania Tiwari, Serena Valentine. For our New Jersey Music Educators Association All-State High School Mixed Chorus, Mehar Aiden, Sehaj Chada, Ashi Goswami, Lasini Kavori, Gurjap Kohli, Rochelle Olavidas, Marcus Pena, Serena Valentine, Vincent Wilson. For our NJMEA All-State High School Treble Chorus, Kennedy Christensen, Flori Deepak, Pranisha Gordy, Ivana Samuel, Sanvi Shringate, and Sanvi Tadi. I know we do have rehearsals for Romeo and Juliet, by the way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday at the PAC, if anybody wants to go. So we may have some of our recipients there. We have our Middlesex County Teen Arts Festival Honors recipients for digital art, Jason Henry. For digital art, Mia Ruiz. And for visual arts, Miriam Abdel Malik. For world language at the high school, our following recipients have received a seal of biliteracy. This is a seal that goes on along with their diploma when they graduate for mastering a second language other than English. And for Spanish, we have Madison Adamczyk, Victor Angelovsky, Rudy Camillo Ortiz, Nyack Carrasco, Jordy Castaneda DeLone, Sabrina Chipoletta, Randy Dominguez, Valeria Fernandez Garcia, Mega Gambrewala, Jui Gawar, Jolie Gergis, I'm sorry. Pranisha Gordy, Stella Jones, Benjamin Krasnov, Rui Kulkarni, Gaia Ladisa, Rohan Majgapu, Joaquin Marquez, Nishan Nayak, Haley Pandya, Riva Parapati, Gabriela Penaphile, Brenda Ramirez Cortez, Matthew Rowley, Suraya Sarma, Josika Selva Kumar, Vedika Singh, Joseph Sotomayor, Adriana Vara, Marjorie Veras. Sotomayor. For Latin, we have Anish Korapati, Anand Suranaran, Pranitha Vishna Botla. For Italian, we have Gaia Ladisa, Ashwarya Sesandri. For Hindi, we have Misha Patel and Krishna Soneji. For Gujarati, we have Krishna Soneji. Like the other Dr. Higgins, my eyes are going too. I'm kind of having a hard time seeing this. For French, we have Shirakshita Ramesh. At this time, it is my pleasure to introduce the Vice Principal at the high school, Dr. Joe Colella.
Good evening, everyone. Our first award is a World Language Award. In particular, it's a student who is in our Spanish National Honor Society, which is advised by Ms. Natasha Carinante. The Joseph Adams Senior Award is the highest achievement bestowed on a student who studies Spanish. In this particular case, this student received the highest amount for that scholarship. Please welcome. Please give it up for Vendika Singh. here. All right, our next award is through our Speech and Debate Club, which is brand new at the high school. That's advised by Ms. Kate Roach. Our students went to Montville Invitational, and they did a great job this year. Second place went to Rui Kilcarney. And first place, Chris Castria. Our next award, in the same vein as our speech and debate, we have the American Legion Oratorical Competition, which we've had at the school for a long time. It's been advised by Mr. Christopher Thumb for a while as well. First place at the high school, Christian Backoff. At this time, I would like to introduce two of our teachers at the high school, Ms. Jen Solomon and Mr. Brian Kehoe. They advise our FBLA group here at the school, and they're doing a fantastic job. They have done a fantastic job this year, and the kids have done a great job as well. So here they are.
We are the Future Business Leaders of America Advisors. Future Business Leaders is a club that gives students the opportunity to study topics across several different industries, compete in several business competitions, and participate in philanthropy. Tonight, we'd like to honor the students that placed at our state leadership conference and will be going on to represent our school at the national level.
But first, we'd like to honor someone who is our newly elected Central Regional Vice President for NJFBLA State Office, Dewani Bino.
Taking first place in journalism, Akilan Prabhu.
We'll read them from there now. Yeah, we had a different list. In second place in parliamentary procedure, Neela Beatrice Agapan, Alina Chaudhry, Alicia Chaudhry, Shreya Harish, and Trishti Merchandani.
Taking fourth place in supply chain management, Arun Subramanian.
Placing fourth place in information systems, Navidi Deepak and Aditi Kamath.
And our last award, placing fourth in parliamentary procedure, give it up for the team of Arun Bandura, Sahasnav Grandi, Pranav Puranik, and Krish Shah.
Congratulations. Go team.
Yes, now we're on the next slide. And placing first place in their event planning event, Lasini Kavari and Ashika Patel.
Yeah, go ahead.
We did read these, but our apologies, we read them out of order. But again, congratulations to Dwani Vinu again for being our newly elected Central Regional Vice President. And for Akeelan Prabhu for placing first in his event journalism.
Thank you.
This year, our AP Computer Science group, led by Ms. Vinitha Garshankar, entered our students in the CyberQuest competition, which was presented by Lockheed Martin. And they did, again, a fantastic job. For third place in this competition, we have Kavit Padma, Harasi Singh, Ananya Anakanabatu. Second place, we've got Tanya Patel and Shreya Sandehapatiam. Ms. Garshankar sends her regrets. She would have loved to be here to read her kids' names and also to read her robotics kids' names. She wanted me to let everyone know that Robotics Team A, which is called Monroe Alchemy, has been invited to the VEX World Championship in Dallas from 425 to 427. So please send positive thoughts and good luck to our kids. All right, we're going to start with the Monroe Township High School Tournament. We host a number of tournaments here at the high school, and our kids also participate in other tournaments at other schools as well. We'll start with our quarterfinalists from the tournament which we held here at the high school. Ninray Bhattacharya, Saharsh Dudilla, Vident Hathiramani, Samhitha Matapali, Saharsh Metachalam, Lutya Narne, Anish Padma, Kaving Padma, and Tanush Siva. And moving on to our semifinalists in that same tournament, we have Josh Algale, Rohan Majagapu, Pranil Makakamala, Arnav Nathula, Nakunj Patel, Shreyash Prabhu, Manvi Sinha, Shrivastan Srinivas, and Jarrett Tai. And now I'll read the names of the tournament champions from the Cherry Hill Monroe Township tournament. These groups of students are achieved beyond what we thought, really what we thought was possible 5 years ago when we really started getting into robotics, and we've come a long way. This group was also awarded the National Create Award. Again, I wish Ms. Garshankar was here to go into a little bit more detail and depth as to what these awards are. But rest assured, they are fantastic, and we are moving forward with STEM in this district. So first of all, in that winning team, we have Anand Shuri, I'm going to say this correctly, Anand Shuri Anarayanan. I hope that was correct, actually. Eric Avisbakov. Midrin Balaji. And Vishal Senthilkumar. At this time, I would like to turn the mic over to our athletic director, Mr. Stephen Barandika, to read the sports awards. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm honored for the opportunity to acknowledge our student athletes who work very hard on the field and off the field as well with their academics and do a great job in representing our community. First, we'll begin with winter track, coached by Mr. Christian Jessup for the girls and Mr. Mark Straneri for the boys. Our boys all-red division, Stephen Barbera, Matt Lucas, and Man Patel. For the girls, we have Denise Pena, and Kayla Intorsha. We also have 2 student athletes who earned all-conference, Matt Lucas and Man Patel. Good. Yep. All right, next we'll move on to wrestling, all red division, Nick Cavallo, Omar Cholula Conde, Josh Shumsky, Matt Shumsky, and Anthony Ramirez. All conference and district champion, Omar Cholula Conde. And 2 of our coaches were also awarded some awards this year. Coach of the Year for District 20, Coach Joe Urell. And Assistant Coach of the Year, Mr. Gary Makowitz. The team as a whole also earned the 2024 GMC Large School of the Year Award. We have bowling next. All right, next we have bowling, coached by Mr. Andrew Isola. All red division, Aiden Hobby. And Nishminta Tambi. We also had all red division and all conference, Tyler Santalucia. All right, next we'll move on to ice hockey, coached by Mr. Kevin Felice. All conference, we had 2 athletes, Nick Izzo and Peyton Million. All right, boys and girls basketball, coached by Mr. Jeff Warner for the boys and Miss Lee Oatman for the girls. We had all red division, Evangelina Francisco. All red division and all conference, Hallie Cottrell. And all red division and all conference, Miles Marabuto. Swimming is next. For the boys and girls, they're both coached by Miss Tracy Rickert. All white division, Neil Chanwani. All white division, Annie Bashra. All white division, Aishi Goswami. All white division, Sarasi Dedhira. Sarah. All white division and all conference, Brandon Anand. All white division, Jordan Showers Barnett. And all white division and all conference, Genevieve Warner. And last but certainly not least, we have our intermediate competition cheerleading team, coached by Ms. Kim Lawson-Levy. Just wanted to start off by just acknowledging the hard work that these girls have put in and day out, not only this year, but last year as well. Last year, in their first year, they competed in 3 competitions and earned 3rd place for each competition that they went to. This year, they started off with 2nd place and then went on with 8 straight first places, including the NJCDCA State Championship. Colby Bacon. Peyton Badiak. McKenna Benjamin. Jaslyn Bennett. Emily Boyle. Riley Boyum. Valentina Callow. Jacqueline Saris. Sabrina Chipoletta. Ava Citron. Alexis Cook. Sophia Dallier. Madeline DeRoyan. Victoria Donaldson. Ava Fay. Carly Fellon. Victoria Fiordalizo. Chloe Jorgensen. Emma Kerbensade. Lyra Lujo. Alexa Marquez. Sophie Nikotinsky. Jenna Palladino. Juliana Proctor. Eliana Rosin. Larry and Saman. Addison Shea. Francesca Sparrow. Tori Tunnison. And Allison Sangrando. And we also had a special coach award that went to Doreen Pagano, our coach, who has been a volunteer cheer coach for 15 years. She was recognized for the award for excellence in coaching. Congratulations to everyone.
On behalf of our Director of our Early Childhood Education, Ms. Jeannie Corallo, I would like to award for hard work and dedication in ECE since 2017, Marissa Shapiro.
Good evening, everyone. It gives me great pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Mr. David Rothman from the Henry Rickless Holocaust Memorial Committee. Each year at the high school, our freshmen participate in an essay contest in which they answer several prompts about the Holocaust. So at this time, I'd like to present Mr. Rothman, who's going to come up and discuss the awards.
Thank you, Board President, board members, Shari. What we do from the Henry Rickless Holocaust Memorial Committee, I've been a long-term member. The organization has brought Holocaust survivors to go speak in the Monroe Township High School in front of the students, and this has continued, and 2023 was no exception. After the survivors speak, and they answer any questions from the students openly, we then challenge the students and say, here's an essay, completely voluntary, you're not getting graded on it. Here is an essay if you'd like to do it. Now, we give them, this past year, 3 choices. 1, why is it important to learn about the Holocaust? And what do you do carrying these lessons forward? 2, can something like the Holocaust happen again? Could it even happen in the United States? And 3, what would you do if you came across, or what would you do or what would you say, if you came across a Holocaust denier, what would you do about it? So, of the nearly 100 essays submitted, 5 were considered by the members of RICUS as just outstanding. And these are the winners. I'm going to read their names. I'd like you to come up for your award. That's number 1. Say hello to the board that makes all this happen, number 2. And then check with my banker, Orlean Lazar, because we have a $50 gift certificate for your effort. So, I should say, of all your other speakers before you, they all know your names properly. I've just seen them in writing. If I mess up and pronounce it incorrectly, forgive me. Okay. Manveer Singh. Okay. No, you're a banker, not a. Okay. Sanrash Malhotra. How close was that? Congratulations. I'll say hello to the group. Okay. Great. Samantha Mosa. Congratulations. Thank you. Oh. Did Manveer Singh? We didn't. Abhinav Thanagai. How close was that? How close was that? Okay, thank you. Very well done.
Could you tell us what subjects they chose?
Well, we're getting close. Excuse me, Kavya Shah. Thank you. Kavya, did have a question for you while you're there. Since you're our last award winner here, would you like to share your essay? Okay. Sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll stand here. Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Kavya Shah. I'm a 10th grade student here at Monroe Township High School. This essay was written in Mr. Chanley's Honors World History class, and he was a teacher who pushed us all to do our very best in history, though it may not be all of our favorite subjects, but he pushed us to submit our essays for this competition just to see where it would take us, and now we're here. So, thank you. Why is it important for students to learn about the Holocaust? 6 million is a large number, almost unfathomable if you ask most. 6 million Jewish men, women, and children were slaughtered during the Holocaust. Each of these individuals were important to one another: a mother, a father, sister, brother, best friend, all innocent. This number barely covers half of the lives lost in this horrendous tragedy, almost 12 million individuals brutally murdered under the command of Adolf Hitler. Educators around the world place great emphasis into teaching the youth about this horrific period in history. But why? The Holocaust is taught to prevent such an event from ever happening again by educating children about the effects of racism and bias and the strength of key concepts such as democracy, dictatorship, and propaganda. It is commonly known that children today are leaders tomorrow. Future leaders of the world are being educated around the globe at this moment. By being taught about the Holocaust and other significant historical events, it allows students to observe the consequences from these actions. Understanding how the Holocaust affected the Jewish population and other minorities will cause there to be a larger focus on the prevention of discrimination and prejudice in the modern society. It will show the younger generation how to solve problems without the same outcomes by serving as a guideline of decisions that were made. There were many aspects of Germany's government that led Hitler to come to power and rule over the country the way he did. Studying and analyzing these conditions will assure that such circumstances will never be recreated, allowing another figure to gain unlimited government control. In addition to that, backtracking Hitler's decisions and the root of his hatred for the Jewish race shows students how his upbringing is greatly different from the childhood of the modern adolescent. In the 21st century, there is a large number of social diversity across all countries. There are newer resources, such as technology, allowing connection between all types of people from various backgrounds. By being well educated in other cultures, it makes way for more inclusivity and for all types of individuals. Compared to the World War II era, the human race as a whole has taken great strides to move away from the conservative nature of the time. And to continue to do so, it is essential that children are educated about the Holocaust to prevent anything like it from happening. There are many causes of the Holocaust, but the main reason are the racist ideals of Germany's dictator at the time, Adolf Hitler. From an early childhood, he had been taught anti-Semitic philosophy, which eventually led to his prejudice against European Jews. As mentioned in the paragraph, many steps have been taken to make sure children today are not raised with such values. One of that being globally, schools teach about circumstances such as the Holocaust to ensure the students gain a wide perspective on world history. Though it is not as big of a problem today, racism and bias are still societal problems that are being faced. Looking back into the past, it is clear that there have been miles of progress made where it was needed. Being educated on the worldwide status of current issues over history is vital for the students of this generation. As they become leaders, they have the ability to put an even bigger spotlight on issues such as racism and prejudice. When the Holocaust is taught, it is taught with the intent that adolescents learn from it and strive to fix the problems that caused it initially. It is crucial that the strength of key components such as democracy, dictatorship, and propaganda during this time is understood by the youth. They all played a major role in the Holocaust, and World War II will forever change the way they ended. After it became clear that Hitler was abusing his power as Führer, citizens across Europe understood the importance of democracy. If not set up correctly, it can present itself as a weak government, but over time it can strengthen. Developing a system of checks and balances and gaining support from the public aids in the building of a strong democracy, such as ours in the US today. By focusing on it, to reference the World War II and the Holocaust, students can see the importance of it and make real-life connections with modern government styles. To add on, similarities can be observed between all dictators throughout history. Stalin, Mussolini, Tojo, and Hitler all began their reign by quickly climbing up the political ladder, making riveting speeches and riling up the public to stand behind them. They made empty promises and constricted freedoms, controlling the public and private lives of their citizens, making students compare and contrast the techniques of these dictators and how they affected their countries further emphasizes that dictatorship is not a sustainable method of government. Events such as the mass killing of Jews are products of dictators using their power unchecked. Propaganda was arguably the most common technique used by dictators and other leaders to instill national pride in all of their citizens. By exercising censorship and essentially brainwashing the population, leaders were able to use their power without consequence for an extended period of time. Today, though censorship is not as common, it is still used. There are other ways, such as social media, that can be considered modern-day propaganda. Teaching kids the method that Hitler utilized to mask the events occurring within the concentration camps give them an outside perspective of how deceiving propaganda can be. It is important that they are wary of things that they learn from modern propaganda, and they are more likely to do so after understanding the role it played in World War II. To conclude, it is essential that students learn about the Holocaust in school to show the effect of societal and fundamental issues such as democracy, dictatorship, and propaganda, bringing awareness to the monumental impact of totalitarian influences and the tragedies they can ensue allows other events such as this to be avoided by default. Observing the causes of the Holocaust such as the racism and bias of Hitler and the methods of use such as censorship and propaganda can help students be wary of these techniques used today. The fight against it. After World War II, democracy and the view on dictatorship were forever changed, showing the world the true impact of force and violence. In order to understand how it has shaped modern policies, students must be taught to look back into the past and recognize how the timeline of the Great Wars influenced every single aspect of the government's standing today.
You know, I warned you. I told you it was outstanding. I warned you. Now, I also would like to give a special thanks to Danielle Drust, who was able to organize this, put it together, and then she turned around and said, okay, you better be ready. We're doing it again May 1st. So May 1st, the new freshman class will have the same, a similar program with new, well, not new, with our Holocaust speakers. So thank you all for letting us be here.
Thank you again. And just another round of applause for all of our staff of the year we recognize this evening and our students for all of their achievements. All right, at this time, we'll go back to our number 7 on our agenda, Student Board Members Report.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Before we start, we just want to congratulate everyone who is recognized today. Our school district has so many amazing people and amazing accomplishments that definitely should be recognized tonight. So we'll start with Oak Tree Elementary School. Oak Tree celebrated Monroe Day on April 9th with all classes participating in varied activities. For example, first grade students wrote and received letters from their pen pals at different Monroe schools, while other classes learned about the different farms located in our township. On April 12th, the first ever Oak Tree Express Traveling the Globe took place. This full-day event allowed classes to rotate throughout the day to learn about different countries through language, song, dance, and art. April 16th was a very busy day at Oak Tree. Author Amulia Veldandi Vadali presented to all of the classes her work and how she became an author. Unified students and representatives from high school and Applegarth visited Oak Tree to participate in many fun physical activities in the gym with their unified students and representatives. The Township Enviromobile was also on site during the week, presenting valuable information about recycling to the Oak Tree students. One Book, One School will take place on April 19th, at which the mentor text, The Sour Grape, will be read to all the classes with follow-up activities planned. Media specialists have planned a Maker Space Day on April 22nd, and Oak Tree students will participate in a Police Unity Bike Tour PJ Day on April 24th to raise funds for their law enforcement reps to participate in this annual event.
All right, good evening, everyone. Now moving on to Applegarth. So for Applegarth, Club Code activities have begun after school, and students are having a wonderful time with this learning opportunity. In April, the school celebrated their paraprofessionals and assistant principals on their respective appreciation days. The Principals Book Club met to discuss riding freedom on April 11th. Students competing in May Fish Tank competition have reached their second checkpoint to prepare their inventions and innovations. On April 24th, the school will have its Pajama Day. Funds raised will support the Monroe Township Police Department's annual Unity Ride. The ride supports families of officers who have fallen in the line of duty. April 25th is Bring Your Child to Work Day. At Applegarth, a number of classroom activities are planned for their visitors. Avid students from the middle school will be visiting Applegarth classes to discuss the program with fifth graders on April 26th. This week, the school is celebrating Applegarth is a Diverse Universe with activities celebrating the school's beautiful differences. They will have a school-wide sing-along of the song This Is Me this Friday, April 19th. Applegarth will host an Earth Day assembly on April 24th. And for grade 5, NJSLA testing begins on April 29th. On April 30th, the Young Business Girls are holding an art show fundraiser to raise money to purchase monkey bars for the school.
Moving along to Brookside Elementary School, all of the school students were invited to show their school spirit and support on March 21st through the 28th for Developmental Disabilities Awareness Week. Monroe Day at Brookside took place on April 9th, and each grade was given the opportunity to learn about Monroe's history and community. The students participated in a variety of collaborative and engaging activities that included hands-on tasks and web quests.
Moving on to Barclay Brook. Barclay Brook School had its second Great Kid Trimester Assembly in March. During trimester assemblies, the school recognizes a student from each classroom who consistently embodies the school's great traits, which are growth mindset, respect, empathy, acceptance, and trust. The school is so proud of all the students who were recognized for this award. Barclay Brook School recognized and celebrated Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month during the month of March. Students were invited to participate in a week of school spirit days during the week of March 25th. Each school spirit day had a theme centered on inclusivity and support. This week, Barclay Brook is participating in an Act of Kindness Week, where students are encouraged to show kindness, gratitude, and encouragement in school and at home. In addition to engaging in acts of kindness, they have been challenged with noticing others who engage in acts of kindness. Throughout the week, students are writing and drawing the acts of kindness of others, which the school is hanging on a big spot of kindness in their hallway. The school and we as a board are so proud of the students for demonstrating this kindness and noticing kindness in others.
Next up is Woodland Elementary School. On March 15th, the school student council sponsored a Wear Green Day in honor of St. Patrick's Day. In celebration of Developmental Disabilities Week, March 18th through 22nd, the school celebrated a Spirit Week dressing in theme each day. On March 26th, Character Crew and Student Council sponsored a leukemia and lymphoma fundraiser, raising approximately $400. On April 8th, the Monroe Township Public Works and Recycling Center visited with their Enviromobile and taught the students and staff about better ways to manage trash and pollution. For the month of April, the school submitted the required Lego logs to earn a school-wide reward of extra recess. This was a great way to celebrate the schools meeting the goal for the month of April. The art tag students participated in a field trip to the Monroe Township High School to sketch and draw together with other groups of people. They were able to see the level of skill and creativity inspiring them to continue creating and practicing art. The Computer Science and Robotics Club kicked off on Monday, April 15th.
Next up is Mill Lake, and now Mill Lake has had a busy spring. Leading up to spring break, Mill Lake hosted their annual night of reading. Reading Under the Stars has had over 300 attendees who enjoyed teacher read-alouds, reading bingo, raffles, and yummy treats. It was a huge success, and the school ended the month with the Neurodiversity Walk and another successful Unified Gym event. April has brought a host of events for the school, including bus evacuation drills, Purple and Jeans Day, supporting March of Dimes, and the annual staff recognition dinner. The school extends a thank you to all the high school student chefs who helped out. On Friday, April 19th, Mill Lake is eagerly awaiting author Elise Broach to Mill Lake School. She will share snippets from her famous publications, including the acclaimed novel Shakespeare's Secret, Dessert Crossing, and Masterpiece. The school will round out the month with their district pajama day, to supporting the Police Unity Tour and Bring Your Child to Work Day events on April 25th. Teachers will host fun and inclusive events, including a school art project, a competitive sports game, and a building scavenger hunt. Thank you, Team Mill Lake, for all that you do. Lastly, on May 1st, Mill Lake will host its first Star Lab event. This will provide amazing opportunities for young astronomers, which will be run by our own Monroe High School science teachers.
Moving on to MTMS. April 11th, the middle school held its annual Avid Night for parents and potential students. On April 11th, the school also held substance abuse assemblies to educate their students about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. April 22nd will be the MTMS 8th grade team day. Teams will compete against each other in activities to see who will win throughout the entire day. The week of May 3rd to the 7th, the grades will be going on its annual trip to medieval times. MTMS NJSLA testing will begin on April 30th and end on May 16th.
For the high school, NJSLA testing is also occurring and is scheduled for April 29th and 30th. The MTHS drama students are presenting a modern take on Romeo and Juliet on April 18th, 19th, and 20th. Join the MTHS youth for an independent TEDx event on April 26th from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. in the PAC. The TED Talk is entitled The Impact of Identity. Senior Week is a week dedicated to recognizing seniors in the class 2024, and this week is scheduled from Monday, April 29th to Friday, May 3rd. And then the MTHS Rho Kappa Social Studies Honor Society has organized this month for a voting simulation, which brought in real voting machines and instructed senior health classes on how to vote, which was a great success with 525 students voting in the simulation. And the results of the election are in. The MTHS students' favorite school lunch was General Tso's. Their favorite school performer in concert was Drake. And the students also voted yes to implement the public question for a ranked choice voting system. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Thank you very much. The next item on our agenda is our committee reports. Any committees wishing to give a report? Mr. Tufano?
April 11th, our committee met at 7 p.m. Number one on the agenda was a Girl Scout Cadet project proposal, but the project proposal has been tabled for a future meeting. The Girl Scout obviously couldn't make it. Second thing on the agenda was the Eagle Scout project proposal. Sajin Patel, Eagle Scout candidate and current Monroe Township District student Sajin Patel, presented a project proposal to construct garden boxes at Oak Tree School. The committee members and the administration were highly complimentary of the proposal and Mr. Patel's efforts and offered full support for the project. Number three on the agenda was the Eagle Scout project proposal by Christian Backoff. Eagle Scout candidate and current board member district student Christian Backoff presented a project proposal for a courtyard restoration at the Woodland School. The committee members and the administration were highly complimentary of the proposal and Mr. Backoff's efforts and offered full support for the project. Number four was an Eagle Scout project proposal as well. Param Getia, Eagle Scout candidate, presented a project proposal for a Gaga pit at the Applegarth School. We fully support that project as well, and Mr. Geida's efforts, and we offered our full support for the project. Number five on the agenda was the Brookside School Stopgap project at the Media Center. Administration provided an update of the project and showed current construction drawings. Administration will have a resolution prepared for this board meeting in board action. Number six, the golf range site renovation update. Administration noted that the permits have been issued for the project and the district facility staff have been on site performing construction and the project is proceeding nicely. We are awaiting delivery of mechanical equipment and will coordinate with the transfer of special services staff from Monroe Commons to the newly renovated facility for the last week of June. That project will save the district a whopping $120,000 a year. That was a big move. Number seven was the Applegarth school project update. Administration reminded the committee that bid opens for the 1936 roof replacement project and the school electrical service upgrade were opened on February 27th. There are two responsible low bidders for whom contract recommendations will be made for board action after the NJSDA project agreement has been executed. Ms. Allen has been working with the NJSD officials to make our project processing a priority, and they have been accommodating us thus far. We look forward to completing the 1936 building roof replacement project in the summer of 2024 and awarding the electrical contract so long that lead equipment items may be ordered in the summer of 2024 for delivering in spring of 2025 for installation ahead of forthcoming HVAC upgrades project at the school. 8, lax rebound wall shared service agreement, The committee chair, which is me, requested the administration contact the township to see if they can arrange for a shared service agreement to have a rebound wall constructed at the high school stadium site adjacent to the tennis courts in lieu of at Avenue K, as it may be considered by the township. This location would be beneficial to the school program as well as the community at large. 9 was a refrigerated donation for the stadium concession stand. The committee endorsed the recommendation by high school principal Dr. Kevin Higgins to accept a donation from district employee Darlene Rosano of a refrigerator to be used at the stadium concession stand. Administration will have a resolution prepared for the board action to accept the donations from at the next public meeting. And I'd like to thank Ms. Rosano for donating that, and it's nice of people in the community to donate to our district whenever they can. That's it.
Absolutely. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Tofano? No? Ms. Belko, did you want to give your report?
Yep,
I
I'm
see you
ready.
reaching for your mic.
I'm ready. Okay. So on Tuesday, April 9th, the Finance Committee met, and we had a short agenda. We reviewed the attorney fees for the month of February. They totaled $16,462.31. Of that was $6,000 that went for Oprah legal review, because there were, I'm going to get the number wrong, 42 Oprah requests between January and February that required legal review. And there was also some other special education matters and some other general legal advice and some special defense, which was $4,000 that that needed to be paid. Questions were reviewed and answered, and if you want to see them, you can go to the video on the website. The bills that were reviewed for the meeting for finance on that date were totaling $7 million and change, $7,070,000. Those were reviewed. Anything that was over $10,000 to $15,000 we reviewed. And Mr. Payne, I thank you for your service on the Finance Committee, because you were always very diligent about reviewing the bills and everything. And you can see that that discussion occurred there.
Thank you.
And so that's my report for the Finance Committee.
Do you want to do curriculum too?
I'm going to do curriculum if there's any questions about finance
questions
first.
on finance?
Okay. Curriculum Committee met on April 9th. We began our meeting at 5:45 p.m. We had a presentation. Dr. Kevin Higgins sat in for Dr. Colella, who was unable to make it, to present the clubs for the month, for the next year. And those clubs are on our agenda tonight to approve. The chess club, oh my goodness, I thought I wrote them down. The chess club, I had them here, my apologies, but there were 3 clubs. Dr.
Jewish.
Jewish, yeah, the Jewish
Student
club
Union.
and the, it wasn't called the club though, what did we call it?
Student Union.
Student Union, Jewish Student Union, and the sports business, excuse me. I apologize for not having that written down. I thought I had it written down. Sports Business Club, all those were reviewed by the committee and accepted, and the committee recommends for approval here to the full board for tonight, for the committee. We also had a presentation about our spring and summer enrichment programs. Mr. Maralda provided us with this lovely, very small print document that, you know, just because you can doesn't mean you should. Where did he go? He's not there. He's usually sitting back there. You know, this could have easily been a 4-page document. It would have been much easier to read. Even with my glasses, I had to take them off to read it. But it's a very comprehensive report about our summer enrichment and our current in-school year enrichment programs that are going on, and they are very popular. We've already opened up several other sessions for some of the programs that are going on during school, and we'll be soon coming out with the information for the programs that will be run over the summer time. Some of our most popular programs are Cooking with Cantor, and I have to be honest with you, her and her group did the food for tonight's reception. It was phenomenal. Our students are learning an incredible craft and an incredible skill by an incredible chef. So really do appreciate everything that she's done for the district for us. We also had an opportunity, 2 grants have been awarded to the district. And there's a state grant, Ms. Strust, and please go to the video because she can do the grant more justice than I can, but they received a grant for AP African American Studies to augment and allow for our students who are taking these classes for trips, textbooks for teachers, professional development for the teachers, to include those things into our curriculum and things. So she's very excited about having that grant there. And then our special ed supervisor for the elementary level received a state grant. It's called a DREAM grant, and it is working with and training provided for the Nurtured Heart program, which is an SEL, social emotional learning for those who don't know what SEL is, that the students will and the teachers will learn more processes and procedures for teaching and working with students to increase and enhance or enrich our curriculum for our SEL students. So it's money for one person to attend a 5-day intense program, and then in turn, that will be turnkey, and that person will come back to the district, provide professional development for the rest of the teachers that work in the district with these curriculums and things that are there. So that kind of came out. It was not on the agenda. It came out just from conversation before the meeting started, and I felt it was necessary that we should share that with the district. So I thanked both committees for their patience and their time with me. I was the curriculum chair for my entire tenure here on the Board of Education, and so I gave my thanks to all of them and their support, and I took over the Finance Committee a few months ago, and that's been an interesting ride. And I also thanked the Policy Committee chair, because I've been on that committee since I started my tenure here on the board, and I thanked everyone for that. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Belkin. Anybody have any questions? Yes, Ms. Reiner.
I just wanted to thank you as Chair of Curriculum. I had the pleasure of being on that committee last year. It's definitely, as you've always said, very enjoyable. So I did want to thank you for that. I also did just want to ask a question about the clubs. The clubs themselves look fantastic. I have no issues with what they're about. I was just curious, are these clubs that are taking the place of other clubs that are there, or is there an additional cost for advisors for these clubs or any other financial element?
I'm going to let Dr. Lehman take that.
So the club approval process is a 2-year process. It started in the fall with essentially students proposing, gathering support for their clubs, submitting applications. Dr. Higgins shared that there was a significant amount of clubs proposed. For various reasons, some of them were filtered out. They either overlapped with other clubs' missions, visions, or they could be in what those students were looking for could be absorbed in other clubs. So these 3 clubs were identified as fulfilling a need of the students with enough interest. So next year they will run at no charge. The advisor is volunteering the time for next year. It's a probationary period. We will monitor attendance, we'll monitor their progress towards their mission and vision. If everything proceeds as they would expect it to, the following year it would be added to our club list. He also shared that there are, and they do a yearly review of clubs. They monitor attendance using digital sign-in sheets and things. So he can look week to week, month to month to see which clubs have attendance growth and decrease. So there are 3 clubs that are on a probation that are currently existing that unless student interest, which is fine, you know, student interest varies year to year, unless it increases, those clubs will be removed from our existing club list. So this is not a swap, but we do monitor in and out, and typically we add and subtract clubs every year. It's usually a pretty much a wash. So we'll be monitoring those 3 clubs next year. The three added we'll monitor, and then we'll see, again, we'll get another update in the spring as to how we proceed adding, subtracting students and clubs. Thank you. Does that help?
Ms. Boer?
I just had a comment on the last curriculum meeting. Ms. Belko always says we have a lot of interesting conversations on it, and last meeting we had 2 contentious conversations on it, which I wanted to bring up in case, and I know you always encourage people to watch the videos, but there was a conversation about inconsistency in returning the test back, and there was no concrete information shared with the supervisors that night. But post the meeting, there has been a lot of feedbacks from parents, and I've reached out to Dr. Chanley and Dr. Lehman and shared the feedback from parents, because parents shared specific names of teachers that are not returning the test. So all it points out is that sometimes we need reminders, there's inconsistencies, and hopefully that process through public feedback is going to change, where finals cannot be returned because that's too much work creating new finals every year, but tests are a learning process, and the test papers should be going back home to help peers tutors, parents help the students do better in their finals. So that was one conversation that we had. And the other one is something that I keep nagging about, and I'm hoping before I am done with the board, this comes to fruition, where we start to offer advancement opportunities in our summer sessions, so that our students stop going to Petty, South Brunswick, or any other district where they pay thousands of dollars and then have to come back and test here and prove that they meet the Monroe standards to then actually advance the class. So if we were providing that class, we were taking that money, we were giving the right, education per our standards, it would be a win-win for the students as well as for the district as an income. So I will continue to harp on that. I know the curriculum committee changes hands, and so I wanted to bring this up so that this does not get lost in conversation as the new committee forms. So thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, any other committees? Ms. Alvarez?
Hi. I'm going to give the report on the policy committee. We met on April 9th. There was a discussion regarding policy 5516, remotely activating communication devices, pager, and cellular telephones, which included outdated language which has not yet been updated by the state. Dr. Kevin Higgins was also present for this discussion and reviewed the use of electronic devices under the high school code of conduct. High school students are complying with keeping their phones in their backpacks during classroom instruction. Otherwise, they are asked to place their cell phones into a cubby monitored by the classroom instructor. We also discussed bylaw 0167, public participation in meetings. Several items were discussed by the committee, including no longer stopping the clock during public forum and allowing questions to be answered at a later time in the board meeting. There was also a discussion whether to allow remote participation during public forum. The committee felt participation at public forum should continue to be in person. The proposed changes to bylaw 0167 are on the agenda tonight for first read. And then lastly, we reviewed policy 5440. This is a new mandated language update from the state. The committee also held a brief discussion on creating a document for board members detailing our board protocols. This topic will be revisited after the reorganization meeting next month.
Ms. Bohr?
So I want to understand what's being proposed in 0167. The item G, which says questions received during public forum will be written down by the board secretary or other designee and answered at the corresponding time listed on the agenda. So are we assigning a separate time on the same meeting's agenda to answer questions and not answering them at the time that they're being asked?
Yes, we're going to designate a different time later in the meeting to answer the questions.
So wouldn't that like impact the flow of the meeting? Like if the question is asked and the answer is ready, why should we do it later?
We didn't feel that it was okay. It didn't look good to have the back and forth, the stopping of the clock. That led to a lot of arguments and a lot of...
To that point, I agree that we don't stop the clock. We let the person finish. And once they're done, then we answer the question if we have the answer, or we promise to answer at a later time. But as long as it's happening as the person's speaking, and then before the next person comes, they either have the answer or, and I did hear the meeting to try to understand this. There was a conversation about the administration answering the question. So if you look at point number 4, it states all statement, questions, or inquiries shall be directed to the presiding officer. So I don't understand, if our policy says that the question is directed to the presiding officer, which is the president, why would the administration answer it? The president can answer what they know because this is their meeting, and then they can use the help, which is how it's always been done, and it's done in other, other Board of Ed meetings too, where they ask the superintendent or the assistant superintendent to help answer questions. But I think the questions, because a lot of times we need to keep this in mind, Board of Ed is their final chain of command for help. They may have had that conversation with the superintendent and assistant superintendent before and not gotten the resolution. So they're coming here to talk to us and get a response from us.
So that's not being changed, that's continuing.
Okay.
And then if you see item G, it says they will receive an answer by district administration or board leadership.
it should be the opposite, answered by board leadership or district administration,
You
because
can
we want
reverse
to
that.
keep, that's what we're doing. We're protecting the public. We are the final point for the public. So I don't see the need to change this, because even the last item, we can put it in the bylaw, but this is an opportunity that the public has, with or without board meetings, to reach out to us by email, right? And they can always say in that email, could you please answer this question in the next board meeting publicly? And that is a public record that can be opened at any time if that person is not. So if that person is sending an email, has gone through the chain of command for whatever issue they've had, and I always discuss this with the public. If you've gone through the chain of command, you've not gotten the resolution, your last stop is the board, you should email all the board members, you should get a reply from the board president, maybe acknowledgement from the other board members, but no reply because board president replies. And at that point, if you still don't have a resolution, show up here at the public forum and make it public that you've done this and you've not gotten the resolution. So this should be the last resort. If people have already emailed us, in my opinion, and have said in that email, I would like this addressed in a public meeting because people are not aware or things are not being run right, then we are obliged to do that. The board president should be bringing it up as a response or asking the administration to give that response. So I don't see the need to specify it here or change this policy at this point, besides that 4-minute rule, which we've stopped the clock. And I understand it's made our meetings longer and cumbersome, and people sometimes think we are being unfair in the way we are stopping the clock. So maybe we don't stop the clock. Everybody gets a say, and then there's one response, there's no back and forth. That's one thing that I'm in favor of changing, and that's my opinion, because I'm not on the committee, so I'm using this deliberation to give my opinion. Thank you.
So I, being on the policy committee, I had quite a bit to say about this particular, this policy. And New Jersey School Boards Association says that the public portion of the meeting is public comments, not public question and answer, banter back and forth, and have questions. I understand that the public has questions, and they do have a right to have their questions answered, but this is a business meeting. We are to conduct the business of the board, and we are to approve recommendations that come from the superintendent. And one of the things that I was most frustrated about my tenure as a board member was the banter back and forth, was the 4 minutes on the clock, because 4 minutes is an astronomically long time. You should be able to say what you need to say and ask what you need to ask in 2 minutes or less. And I believe that the way that we discussed how this would be is that the agenda would be public comment. We would write down, and that says right in the policy, we would write down the questions. There are times when we're fishing for answers where we can't possibly have the answers. A printed copy of regulations and policies sits this high. And I meant to bring it with me tonight because I had a printed copy given to me my first year as a board member. It sits this high. I don't expect anyone, past, current, or future board members, to commit to memory any of those policies. One, because Strauss asked me, they get changed by the state, and then we get the updates from there. We have to look things up. I understand that people may not get the answer they want when they reach out to the board, but we have a legal obligation to follow the law of the Department of Education and the New Jersey State Legislature. That's who we're responsible to. And I don't think that we should be spending time bantering back and forth, answering questions, because oftentimes the public, if they don't like the answer, they just continue, and then they can stand there, and 4 minutes turns into 10 minutes, turns into 15 minutes. And we all have lives outside of this volunteer work that we do. And I do my service, and I did my service diligently, but I do believe that that policy about public comment section of our meeting really needs these changes. I don't think they go far enough.
Ms. Ratner?
Yep. So I was actually also going to mention the advice that's given by NJSBA, which sort of is exactly what Ms. Belko said, so I won't repeat it. I do understand the other aspect of it where, the public is coming in and they want answers to their questions. And I was curious if we've looked into what other districts do. I don't know, Mr. Gagliardi, not to put you on the spot, I know you work with other districts, how they handle this policy. I personally, when it had come up, I had asked Ms. Alvarez about the remote participation because I had seen it in just a couple of other districts. Majority of them do not, I will be completely honest. I just know, being someone who would maybe wanted to speak before but had a young family, where I may not be able to come to a meeting at 10 o'clock at night, or we have a large population of senior citizens, that was something where I felt it would be good for them to have their comments heard as well. But I also do understand the element of we can't, gauge who is coming on and all of that. So, I definitely respect what the committee said. But Mr. Gagliardi, if you have any advice here.
May I, Madam President?
Yes, Mr. Gagliardi.
Thank you. So, I've been attending public school board meetings. I was thinking about it in the few minutes since Ms. Ratner asked the question and you acknowledged me, since 1992. And some of you think, God, that guy looks like it's even longer than that, but whatever. So let me just tell you what I see as the most common, rather than comment on what I think is best, although you can ask me that question if you want. So first of all, I'm not aware of any board that I'm involved with right now, we represent dozens, that allows for remote public comment. I'm not aware of any. The typical pattern for public comment, I've never dealt with a board that does the stop the clock thing. Never seen it before, ever, in all these years. The phraseology, and I don't know if this is what Ms. Belko was referring to from school boards, is the board is meeting in public, it's not meeting with the public. And of course, there are many issues of great significance where the public may not be technically entitled to a response, but they need to get one. So what you would see is the public comment period conclude, and the opportunity for the board president to respond or the board president to ask the administration to respond would come right after that. That's what I see most typically. And there are times when the response from the administration is, I don't know the answer. Why don't you call my office tomorrow? We'll schedule a time to speak. The only exception to that I have seen regularly is as follows. There are times when there's an issue of immense public importance. You can tell from the emails you're getting and the size of the crowd. And it may be that the board has met in executive session and has decided that there's going to be a particular agenda item that's of great controversy that's being tabled. It is typical, and in my view courteous, when the first member of the public comes to talk about that, say, look, I'm not going to stop you. You have your opportunity to comment. You ought to know, however, that after consulting with legal counsel or at the direction of the superintendent, it's being referred to a committee or something, that's not moving forward tonight. So the public knows that. But other than that, I have not seen, and I do not suggest that the public be interrupted or engaged. The public speaks, and again, I think it's common courtesy for the board president to acknowledge certain issues or refer certain issues to the administration immediately after that. And I think in terms of courtesy to the public and engaging the public, while that is maybe technically a little bit more than they're entitled to, the truth is if you were to have that conveyed to the public later in the meeting, the people who came to speak have to wait around to know, okay, what's going to happen, right? So that's why I think in my experience you see that opportunity for the board president to address the public come right after the public comment ends, respond to that which needs a response, or to make a reference to the administration. So I think that describes what I've seen and quite frankly, what I think works well in terms of balancing what you're technically obligated to do and what I think is respectful to the public to do. Thank you, Madam President.
You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions? Ms. Fabiano?
Just contributing to the conversation, I understand what school boards says about not having that back and forth conversation, but like Ms. Bora said, I do think I don't think that we can go backwards. I don't think we can take that away from the public now that we have offered it. I think it takes back the transparency that's been put forth. So I would be in favor of the clock continuing, giving members of the public their 4 minutes to speak, and then with whatever time is left in their 4 minutes, addressing their questions if we can. I feel like that is the most appropriate way to, go forward. It won't become a back and forth kind of dialogue. It still lets the public have their questions answered in a timely manner, and it still allows us, if we need to say that, if we can't answer your question right now, we'll, get back to you as soon as we possibly can.
Mr. Payne?
I just want to say, being a board member on a different district before, we had 4 minutes. First of all, we had a sign-in sheet. People signed their name and their phone number and stated where they were, like we do here. They had 4 minutes, and when they finished, if there was no more questions from the public, they were allowed to come back for 2 more minutes and finish the conversation. That's how we did it years ago. I don't know if they do it the same, but they did, because sometimes somebody, I was cut off years ago in a conversation. I was starting here, and I couldn't come back and finish it, and I was accused of a lot of terrible things, so I know what it feels like to happen to. So if you're cut off and you want to come back and finish your statement after everyone else has said their piece, I kind of believe in that because it happened to me here. Or if somebody wants to make a statement on what something was said here. And also, I have to say, questions were funneled through the board president. And if the board president would always say, like, who says, everybody says it. Dr. Lehman, Ms. Belko said, you could explain it better. And that's what we did. If the board president couldn't handle it, or any committee people, then we let administration handle it. But it was within that 4 minutes also, and the meetings moved. We never had any issues. So, I mean, that's the way I think would be nice, to have people come back and finish their statements. That's just my opinion. So, thank you.
I just
Ms.
had
Bora?
yes. So, like you said, it would be nice, but I don't think we have that luxury. We don't have the time, and sometimes people are just looking to. But I want to go back to what Ms. Fabiano said. We can't go back. We've become transparent. We've given the opportunity. So all of us have right to our opinion. But I don't think it is fair to go backwards. So given that we're talking about not stopping the clock, I'm reading our policy, and here's what it says. Each statement made by the participant shall be limited to 4 minutes duration or less. At the end of the 4 minutes, the participant's time shall be over. We don't mention the stopping the clock. We changed that?
This is the
This is
amended.
the amended.
This is the
That's the amendment. It's no highlighter, sorry. So if I
That's what
want,
we're voting on tonight.
if I want to not include G and H and leave the policy as it is, how do I vote on this?
Well, you can't leave it as is because you still have to vote on 2, because number 2 is changed.
So I would say I'm
you
voting
could
yes
make
on
a
2 and no
motion.
on G and H?
No, it's
Yeah,
the,
you
it's
could-
the
or you can
policy.
make a
You could ask
motion to
for
amend.
Amendment?
You
Yeah.
could ask for it to go back and be changed at
And I
policy.
would have to put a motion on the table for that? I would like to make a motion to amend the policy.
Well, no, I think if
You have to do it later.
it has to go back to policy anyway. So when it goes back to policy, policy can make those changes, and then it comes back for,
second
come back for,
This is on the agenda for action.
yes, it is.
Yeah, that's
It's
fine.
first
It's only the first read.
So it goes
You're not
back
adopting
to,
it tonight.
no, right, it goes back to,
So we just,
The policy
no motion
committee.
needed?
I guess when it comes time to vote, then. Oh, sorry. When it comes time to vote, you can make a motion to table.
If it's not changed by then. But at this point, I can make a recommendation to the committee to please amend this.
Yes.
Okay.
If I can just get a point of clarification, because I'm a little bit confused as well. So this is a first read, and then it goes back for a second read. However, if you disagree with what's in the first read, are you supposed to vote no on what's there? Or, because then if the majority vote no, then it doesn't move forward. So that's my confusion.
Mr. Gagliardi, can you explain that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to say how you're supposed to vote, right?
No, I just understand that.
Yeah. So, voting yes to put this before the board for a first read allows you to consider the policy, right? You're not adopting it tonight, and obviously, I shouldn't say obviously, the committee could recommend changes on its own, or when the policy is up for second read and for adoption, there can be motions from the floor to amend. So you have 2 options, but if you were to vote no, and a majority of the board votes no for first read, then the policy is going to stay as it is, because there's no consideration of any changes placed before the board. Does that answer your question, Ms. Ratner?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so we can vote yes on the policy, but then it can still go back to the policy
Yes,
committee
it
next month.
it always
That's
goes back
correct.
to the policy
That's
committee.
correct. No, what do they say in the ads? No obligation? Yeah, there's no obligation.
Anybody else?
Battery's not included.
Any other questions on that? All right, you have your question?
personnel.
Or personnel, yeah.
No more questions, right? I can go to
Yes,
personnel?
go ahead, Ms. Bora.
Personnel Committee met on April 11. Board members in attendance were myself, Mr. Tufano, Mr. Coram, and Ms. Kirby. Administrators in attendance were Dr. Chanley and Dr. Lehman. We reviewed the current openings in the district. At the time of the meeting, we had 12 vacancies, 11 of which are in the Transportation Department. There was one exit survey reported for this month, and retirement was stated as a reason. The committee continued the discussion on the contract renewal of the MTBOE Educational Support Staff Association. There are 20 district employees that are part of this group and covered in this 3-year contract. There is consensus, and we will be voting on this new contract tonight. There was also a discussion on a new job description, which is on the agenda for approval. It's called the Oprah Central Registration Secretary. There has been retirement in the district, and that full-time employees' responsibilities are being absorbed by 2 secretaries, one in the Pupil Personal Service Office and one by the current Oprah secretary, who is part-time. So the new job description is called Oprah Central Registration Secretary. The board has the explanation from Dr. Chanley herself, and that is also up for approval tonight. And that concludes the committee report for personnel.
Does anybody have any questions?
I have a question.
If I may add, sorry, there is a saving to the district by creating this new job description and absorbing the responsibilities of that full-time position by 2 secretaries. There is a significant savings to the district. Thank you.
Yes. Ms. Alvarez?
So just to clarify, we're taking 2 positions and making it 1.
We're taking one position and splitting the responsibilities into 2.
We're not replacing a vacancy, and we're taking
We-
one
exactly,
position and
exactly.
extending that person's responsibility.
The job responsibilities
Just
are,
clarifying for the public.
right, thank you.
Mr. Payne?
I have a question. I'd like to clarify for the public also and get some information from Mr. Gagliardi. I don't know if everyone realizes we're in a lame duck board vote tonight because our election was the 16th, and you have 2 weeks in order to make decisions and vote on things. So I want to read what it says. Only routine administrative matters, confirmation of purchase orders, filing of known teaching vacancy, approval of use of facilities. Cannot bind future board in matters such as, oh my God, this is so small, such as awarding stipends or salary increments for the succeeding school year, fixing salaries of principals, superintendents, board secretary for succeeding school year, making appointments to positions in which no known vacancies exist. Mr. Gagliardi, you've seen our agenda. I just want to make sure we're in compliance regarding everything that we're voting on our agenda this evening.
Yes,
I mean,
and I know
Madam
you.
President, through Mr. Gagliardi.
Yes, and I know Mr. Gagliardi has answered that question for the board, but if you would like
Sure.
to make that answer
I
public.
just wanted the public, oh, jeez. I'm breaking all the equipment, don't charge me for it. I'm sorry, go ahead.
This is a regular board meeting with a regular board agenda. I'm not aware of any long-term contracts that are on the agenda for this evening, and in a lame duck scenario, which you correctly described, the board is able to conduct its regular business, and that's what this appears to be.
Okay, I just wanted the public to know that and clarification, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President.
Any other questions for Ms. Bora? Any other committee reports? No. Okay, the next item on our agenda is our public forum. This is for agenda items only. If members of the public have any comments on agenda items listed on our agenda for this evening, you have 4 minutes to come up, state your name and municipality. Good evening.
Monroe Township. I do have an agenda item that I wanted to discuss, but I'd be remiss if I didn't just kind of hit a couple things first. First and foremost, congratulations to the Township of Monroe for passing the budget yesterday. This is for our students, for our families. So, I know not nearly as many people go out to vote as we all wish, but thankfully we did pass a budget, and that can only mean great things for the students and the families here in Monroe Township. I want to congratulate the newly elected members of the Board of Education here. Regardless of your motivations, why anyone runs for the board, I just always ask that any board member that's serving the public to remember why they're here, and that's for the kids and for the families. I know people like to say that they're not politicians or they're not into politics, but when you're running for office, politics is always involved. So I just really hope at the end of the day that we're doing what's right for the students and for the families here in Monroe. So congratulations, and I sincerely mean that. I want to thank the outgoing members of the board, individually, starting with...
Mr. Elias, this is for agenda items only.
Okay, all right, fair
I'm
enough.
sorry.
I'll save it. I am here for an agenda item, and that is for the agenda item AC. I'm here to support my very good friend, Christina Zawacki, who is being considered tonight to replace the position of a fourth grade teacher that was now vacated in Woodland Elementary School. I have to say that I was pretty disturbed to see that in all the back and forth leading up to the board vote, or the budget/board vote yesterday, there was some pretty inappropriate commentary directed at Ms. Zawicki, who is sitting here with her 3 beautiful children and her husband. They are residents here of Monroe Township. It was insinuated that Ms. Zawacki is getting paid too much to come into the job of being a fourth grade teacher, and I can tell you that I agree that she is not being paid fairly. In fact, she should be getting paid a hell of a lot more. She's been teaching for 20 years in New York City. Had she continued to be teaching in New York City today, she'd be getting paid about $152,000, with a top cap of about $160,000. So she's effectively taking a 40% pay cut to work here in Monroe Township, steps away from her kids. I think having educators, having people that work in Monroe Township who are invested in the community is a priceless asset to everybody here. I'm jealous that she's not a teacher at the schools that my kids will be attending. She's a fantastic person. She's going to make a great contribution to the community and to the administration. And I think it's shameful that anyone who actually suggests that they want to unite the community and they actually want what's best for the community would single this person out on the internet and say this person doesn't deserve the money they're getting paid. I can assure you Christina Zawacki is worth every single dollar she's getting paid and that much more. And I cannot wait to have her as an educator in this town, and I'm so proud of her and so happy for her. And I'm sure her family and her kids are very happy to have mom nearby as opposed to 2 hours away in New York City. That's really what I have here for the, one last comment, I'm sorry. You know, I'm a fiscal conservative. I don't want to see our tax dollars get paid any more than anybody else on nonsense. But when it comes to, building a good school district, if you want to retain talent, if you want the right people to come work here, you got to pay them what's right. I don't remember too much about the schools that I went to, but I remember the teachers that left an impact on my life. And we want to retain good talent. We want to have good teachers here. We should pay them every dollar that they're worth. So with that, I say thank you, and again, congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Joe DePayne. I really can't say what I wanted to say because you told me I got to come back later, but I'm going to say one thing. I've never seen a board that you guys, you want to come and go. You have a $100 million budget that you're talking about, $100 million budget way back, and you have a half-hour meeting. That doesn't make any sense. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll come back again later, is with all your talking, you get 4 minutes to talk, but there's been many a times the president says, I'll use my name, Mr. DePayne, thank you. You go sit down. So you really don't get your point across. So you got to figure out some way to fix that problem. Thanks.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. Michelle Arminio, 9 Nathaniel Street. I feel I have to continue to address the Open Public Meetings Act, the Open Public Records Act, and the policy that you're discussing this evening. Over the years, government entities, not just this Board of Education, but government entities throughout the state have tried to eliminate, dismiss, and degrade public participation and the need for the public to know what's going on in their government. If this is a democracy for the people need to know what is happening behind closed doors. And unfortunately, school boards, because I spoke at the Senate Legislative in 2017, and our own Linda Greenstein abstained from the vote, but it was a vote to improve the Open Public Meetings Act and the Open Public Records Act. And unfortunately, the Democratic legislature did not vote to push it through. And now we have a legislator that's actually trying to change it in a very, very negative way. And there was a poll recently in New Jersey that 81% of New Jersey people polled do not want to see the Open Public Meetings Act and the Open Public Records Act diminished in any way. Why? Because that's how we look at what our government is doing. And if we're participants in a democracy, we need to be informed as to what's going on. And if we, New Jersey is a big joke about how much corruption there is. Well, if we don't know what our government officials are doing, there's going to be more corruption than we already have. So, New Jersey school boards, the Clerks Association, the New Jersey Clerks Association, and the League of Municipalities. If you think about those organizations, and I'm ashamed that New Jersey School Boards is part of that, but if you think about the other two entities, government entities, you see why they don't want the Open Public Meetings Act and the Open Public Records Act to succeed, because they want to hide behind closed doors and be bosses and really not seek democracy. So I urge this board to continue, because yes, it took years to open up the transparency in Monroe to the state that it is, and I think in the last few years it has been diminished, and I've said it often enough, but I want to reiterate it. The only way that we keep corruption out of our system is sunshine, and keep the sunshine going. And I would recommend that everybody, and I think you can vote no for this policy and still take it back to the policy committee next month. You can vote no, and it's the same thing as voting yes and talking about it again. Just bring it up again. The policy committee you can vote no on it tonight, and the policy committee can go through it again with the recommendations and the discussion that you've had. And I would encourage, for a couple of reasons. One, because we're going to get new board members that may have a say in it. So I thank you very much. And there is nothing more important than public participation in our democracy. Thank you.
Thank you.
And since I have a few seconds left, what are we teaching our children if we don't teach them to participate in a fair and open manner and know what their government is doing? Because they're going to be our government in the future. And we need to know that they have the respect of the public and that we want them to be free. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brian Fabiano, Monroe. So I want to correct a grossly mischaracterized statement by someone in the public who's used this microphone 4 times campaigning. Thankfully, he didn't get through because it's just nonsense. But here's what I'll say. We need teachers, and we need teachers like Mrs. Zawacki, who is applying for this position here under AC. No one says that our teachers shouldn't be paid more. I'm married to an educator that's 20 years in the business. We have college kids that come out today that go into corporate America that make double what our teachers make. Our teachers need to get paid more. And what I said online is not against Mrs. Zawacki. What I said is this. I talk to teachers in Woodland. My kids go there. I talk to teachers in Mill Lake. You have to be fair with every hire you make in this district. We've hired people from South Brunswick, 12 years of experience, and we've started them off at level 3, step 3. We've hired people with 15 years experience, and we've started them off at level 6. What I'm saying is, if you are going to approve hiring decisions and you are going to approve people coming in from other districts, believe me, I think every teacher should be getting paid double what they get paid. And we should honor the years of experience, even though the system has never done that, and we're seeing it more often today. But it's got to be the same. It's got to be the same for everybody. You publish these agendas with people's names, their steps, their pay, for the public to be able to see it. So for us to ask questions and then all of a sudden be characterized as attacking somebody, that's nonsense. This is the second time in 2 months where a hire at Woodland has been at an over 10 step. We deserve a reason to understand why, because this is not the same hiring practice that you're using at Mill Lake. No, it isn't. We have teachers. I talked to a teacher at Woodland, okay, that is hired at a step 6, and she came with over 12 years experience from South Brunswick. So all I'm saying is, it has to be the same. It has to be the same, and you probably should talk to the union, because the union and their members are all talking about this. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Chamley?
Yes. I would be happy to answer. We don't look at the school in which a teacher is going to. Both Dr. Lehman and myself both bring in teachers. I want to thank Ms. Fabiano because he is correct about the steps. We only go up to step 11, and we have like A's and B's in between. So what happens is we try and give the absolute most we possibly can by still respecting the current teachers in our district. Let me first say the teachers in our district, we, whether it be the Board of Education or the administration, have no control over where they are once they are here already, meaning I'm not hiring them, he's not hiring them, and the way they move and how much money they get comes purely from the MTA agreement once it's sanctified and done. What we do is, and I try to be very respectful because I do agree with Mr. Fabiano that I should be fair, so I sit not just myself, but I ask our Director of Human Resources to sit with me, and we go and try and give the absolute most amount of money that we can. So it is possible that if you have 6 years experience, based upon where we are in the guide, because we have A's and B's, you might only be at, let's say, step, and please don't quote me because I don't have it in front of me, step 4. But if you have anything over 20 years experience, you should be automatically at the highest step, which is step 11. We try not to do that because we want to be respectful of those staff members that have been here. So I'm not going to speak on personnel of the individual person. But what we do is, it doesn't make a difference if they're hired at Woodland, Mill Lake, Applegarth, Oak Tree. Why? Because at any time, any teacher can be transferred anywhere. We hire them as an elementary teacher. So I can't speak on his specific example, but I can let you know in the 2.5 years that I have been here, I do not follow where we only bring them in at step 5, 6, 4, or 7. I can promise you that I give every teacher that comes here with the years of experience the most amount of money based upon their actual years of service that I can possibly give. I know that there was a teacher that we brought in last year that was brought in at step 11 because the individual had 27 years experience, and I believe Dr. Lehman did that one, and that was placed at the middle school. I have never brought someone in and given them less than what I possibly can. I will let you know I cannot speak for any of the teachers that, whether it be any community member, which they have a right to speak to the teachers, but I will let you know that we do have teachers that come to us, and this is true, with more years of experience. But as I learned from Ms. Christie, who's our Director of Human Resources, if you are not working under a public school permanent certificate, and you have years of experience, but perhaps in a private school, regardless of the religious affiliation, we do not always give all those years experience. That is true. And perhaps that may pertain to the example that was shared here tonight. I'm not going to say it wasn't. But I work very hard to work with her to give everything that we can give. Something else I want to share, because I'm very passionate about being ethical about the hiring practices. The one thing that we do not do in Monroe Township that is done in many districts is they just give the teacher whatever they need to give them to hire them. So at the beginning of, rather at the end of last year for the hire of this year, an individual teacher who had gone through our system and was doing a leave, who was exceptional mathematics, came to me, and if I could have given her step 5, 6, 7, 8, I would have. I had to put her on step 1. Why? Because she had no years of experience under her permanent certificate. She was offered a position in a neighboring district, Freehold Regional High School District, where they pay more, $12,000 more. I gave her all the reasons why she should work for us, and she took our job. But that shows that I'm ethical, because we do not play games with money. If you do not have the years of experience under a permanent certificate in the state of New Jersey or the state of New York, depending upon how it's recognized in a public school setting, we do not get any years of experience. So I stand by the amount of money that's being approved at the current teacher this time, and I can promise you that every teacher, regardless of where they're placed, because that teacher today, if she is approved, may very well be a teacher by next year if there's a change at Applegarth, Oak Tree, Mill Lake, or anywhere else. So I wanted to clarify that, and I actually welcome his comments, so I had an opportunity to clarify that. I thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else wishing to speak to the agenda? All right, seeing none, we'll close the public forum. The next item on the agenda is the Assistant Superintendent's report.
So I will make a brief update. I just wanted to offer my congratulations to all of our amazing staff members. We recognize them tonight, as we've heard several times throughout the evening. We got to see them all come up and receive their plaque and their award. I also wanted to make sure we recognize again and support our students. I look forward to, in the coming month or two, recognizing even more students as we bring in our student athletes from our winter and spring seasons. Some other things I wanted to highlight, specifically, I have it here. On Thursday, this goes into a little bit of some of the performing arts we recognized. On Thursday, March 21st, the Monroe Township High School Band Program had its finest showing in its storied history at the CJMEA Regional 2 High School Concert Band Festival. The high school performed in the third of the event's 3 concerts, which was hosted at the MTHS PAC here at the high school. In the first time in school history, the MTHS Symphonic Band earned a gold rating. Additionally, the MTHS Honors Wind Ensemble received a gold rating and recorded the highest overall score of all bands competing in the festival. The Honors Wind Ensemble performance has earned them an invitation to NJMEA's State Gala on April 28th at the College of New Jersey, and congratulations to all the students and staff. That's a tremendous honor. So the MTHS Symphonic Band is directed by Mr. Sean Nagpal. He was here tonight. He gave out many awards to our high school students, and the Honors Wind Ensemble is directed by Mr. Marty Griffin, and we've seen him before. He was not able to attend tonight, but congratulations to both directors as well as all of our students. And I'll make a third plug, because we had one during the presentation. Our student board report included it, but our high school spring musical, Romeo and Juliet, a modern take on a classic, is premiering tomorrow night. It's also playing Friday night and Saturday night here at the PAC, 7 p.m. So everyone's invited to come.
The next item on the agenda is the Superintendent's report. Dr. Chanley?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone, and just to be repetitive but in a positive way, it's a great night. We have fantastic staff members that came to be celebrated in their various different roles, regardless of whether they are teachers, secretaries, administrative assistants, custodians. Everybody pitches in different ways to make it a wonderful environment for our children to learn. I'd like to, if I may, and I'm going to use my phone, I apologize, because it was sent to me via email. I am very proud that both of our student board member liaisons have been acknowledged for various different reasons. So first, and then I'll go to my phone. So first, Sehaj, who's here with us this evening, is one of my student liaisons that I get to have lunch with once a month, and I want to compliment, and I do it regularly, and sometimes our board leadership is able to join us. They are the driving force of changes that we try and make when appropriate, whether it be in policy or through curriculum. They have been the driving force in graduation requirements changes. They've been the driving force in why we have additional computer science classes, whether it be A and B, and you don't need to take A to take B. And they have been the driving force in so many different things, even getting extra napkins and certain foods choices. And while we were sitting there, she shared with me, and I said, please, please, you need to brag, because it is a positive thing. When you accomplish something, you need to share it, because that's what makes it, when you hear it, that's what makes it real, and that's what makes something to be proud. So I sent her a really big, large purple congratulations. I said, please share it with me. So I'm just going to read a little part of it. And basically, she was awarded the opportunity acceptance to the Benjamin Franklin Transatlantic Fellowship. It's a prestigious, fully funded summer program where only 10 U.S. fellows aged 16 to 18 will join 45 international fellows from Europe to take classes in international diplomacy, media and journalism, global problems, democracy, and civic education. Over the course of the Institute, the fellows will meet with U.S. politicians, scholars, and journalists. Fellows will participate in debates, practical workshops, and seminars, and they will learn how to organize and participate in community service activities. And that is a really big deal, and if we could just take a moment to honor her. And without me knowing, because it's always nice, I have two children. If you want to brag about one, you want to brag about the other when you can. So what are the odds that Dr. Higgins had approached me at the very beginning, and then he was kind enough to send it to me, and that's why my phone is out. And in addition, our other student board member liaison, Hetvi, who did have to leave us, and she came, she was awarded, literally, it is dated today, it's very exciting, the National English Honor Society evaluation from around the world have reviewed essays written about Kaylee Nunn's, and I apologize because I don't see that well either, the botanist's daughter, and the video material that was submitted with her application was exceptional, and as a result, she is being awarded the National English Honor Society Advisory Council $5,000 scholarship for her future studies. So, congratulations. I'm sure she's not going to run home to watch it. I'm sure she's not videoing this, on her own, but you can let her know. Definitely. Additionally, it's all about the kids. Tomorrow evening, I wasn't able to attend last year, but Dr. Higgins did attend. Tomorrow evening I can. Last year was on our board night for our meeting. So the Middlesex County School Boards Association is having a dinner, and I know we've heard it mentioned before, at Old Bridge High School, and I'm very proud to announce that for the 2024 Unsung Heroes Student Recognition, we have two of our students being recognized. One is an 11th grade student, Shane Singh, and the other one is a 12th grade student, Ishani Jenna. So I wanted to acknowledge them here this evening. And it's important to note that these nominees are nominated because the belief is, and they're nominated by the school administration, that they will make school a better place simply because they are a part of it, and therefore we do not want them to be overlooked for their recognition. So I thank you for indulging me the time to talk about those children. Okay, so the fun time that I was talking about, our Falcons in Flight. We have 4 Falcons in Flight this evening. From our high school teacher of Spanish, we have Miss Linda Labello, who has spent 22 years with us, providing a second language to our children. She is retiring. Kavita Tanaja is Berkeley Brook School teacher of special education, 24 years. Lois Kashnovich, Brookside Elementary School, has been a secretary for 20 years. She's one of our 10-month secretaries, currently under Mr. Sidler. And lastly, but not least, Applegarth Elementary School custodian, 10 years of service, Marta Lensick. I'd like to give them all acknowledgement that we wish them well on their flight, on their next endeavor as they retire. On that note, if I may, under a 10-member vote for personnel, it is recommended the board approve the attached personnel items A through O.
Making a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second.
Okay, are there any questions? Ms. Ratner?
I just had one, which I apologize for not having caught until we were sitting here. I know we're voting on this job description tonight, but we have not done that yet, and I believe her position is listed that way on the agenda, so I wasn't sure if we're able to do that because we haven't approved that yet.
Yes.
So thank you, and that's an excellent question for transparency, as we keep on saying. So because we were not the position that's being created is a current, the way it was explained to me by the guidance of legal counsel is, if you're taking a current position, and actually there's 2, not just one, there's 2. One at People Personnel Services that is currently part-time, and one that is the Oprah Secretary that is currently part-time. I'm sorry?
She's talking about, are
This-
you talking about the educational support staff?
No, I'm
she's
talking
am I
about the
saying right
Oprah
thing?
secretary.
I-
Yeah.
I am right, right?
I didn't want to say the name. I mean, I can.
No, I
but-
didn't say the name. I said their jobs.
Yeah, you
One
know,
of
I
them
was going to say,
personnel.
I didn't want to say the name, but you were referring to the right one because it's, it is letter M, page
So
14.
M is educational support staff.
It's page 14.
M is, so Mary? M is-
Personnel
It's,
10-member vote.
yeah, it's under
there?
not
Is that
eligible for
letter M?
tenure during the 2024,
I
2025.
am correct.
Yeah,
If I'm referencing.
yes.
Okay. So I spoke to the attorney, and I wanted to make sure that we did this appropriately, and the way it was explained to me, when you take a part-time position and you give it additional duties, it does not need to be posted, and it can be board approved. I then explained that the position that we're not filling, so financially it's not costing the district any money, didn't even have a job description. He said that's really not an issue. Create the job description, get it approved, and then those two individuals who currently work here can take on the job responsibilities of the additional job description. And I said, can they both be on the agenda to be approved simultaneously? And his answer was yes, and he works for Mr. Gagliardi. Is that correct, sir?
That he works for me? Yes. Yes, all that's true, because you're simply adding to existing responsibilities.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just, because it says Oprah Central Registration Secretary, I guess that's where my confusion, it's not even necessarily the person being
No, I know.
approved, it's that the position that, I guess, we have not approved yet is there. I guess that's where I'm a little bit confused, but I'm not an attorney, so.
We're approving it all,
It's
for a roll
so-
call.
Right. So I explained to him,
So
within the
her is-
agenda, can they both be present within the agendas, 9-member, 10-member board and personnel, and his answer was yes.
It's not yet approved, it's not passed.
Right, if for some reason that description was not
Then-
approved,
then
we've
it would
already
be-
approved
right.
this.
Then she would know, then, not the individual, the person doing the job would not then get approval.
Right, okay.
That's correct.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Janley. Are there any other questions? Ms. Allen, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Alvarez?
Yes?
Ms. DePayne?
Yes.
Ms. Fabiano?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Ms. Belko?
Yes.
Mr. Gorham?
Yes.
Ms. Bora?
Yes.
Ms. Skirby?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Under personnel, for a 9-member vote, it is recommended the board approve the attached personnel items P through AE.
Making a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions?
Oh, never mind.
No? All right. Ms. Allen, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. DePayne?
Yes.
Mr. Gorham?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes?
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes, recused on AB for Mr. Ratner.
Ms. Belko?
Yes.
Ms. Fabiano?
Yes, no AC.
Ms. Bora?
Yes.
Ms. Skirby?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
So this is for personnel, 10-member vote, letter AF, or 9-member vote, letter AF. It is recommended by the Assistant Superintendent of Schools that the board reappoint the following certificated staff for the 24-25 school year. Again, this is letter AF under the 9-member vote.
Motion?
Second.
Any questions? Ms. Allen, may we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Ms. Belko?
Yes.
Mr. Gorham?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes?
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. DePayne?
Yes.
Ms. Fabiano?
Yes. Wait, it's a 9-member vote.
No. You're doing the.
Oh,
For
sorry.
AF.
Yeah,
Nine-member vote.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, that's
this little
box. You
overlooked
Ms. Fabiano, you said yes?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Ratner?
Yes.
Ms. Bora?
Yes.
Ms. Skirby?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Under board action, for a 10-member vote, it is recommended the board approve the attached board action items A through J.
Is there a motion to
Motion.
approve?
Motion?
Second. Yeah, are there any questions? All right. Ms. Allen, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Belko?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes?
Mr. Gorham?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Sorry. Yes, recuse on, or abstain On item A, staff development for Dr. Hanley, and then for no on letter I.
Okay. Ms. DePayne?
Yes.
Ms. Fabiano?
Yes, no on item I.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes on all except for 0167, part of E.
Ms. Bora?
Yes on all except 0167, the public participation policy.
Okay. Ms. Skirby?
A yes to all, a no to under item E, P0167.
Okay, so motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Under board action, 9-member vote, it is recommended the board approve the attached board action items K through S.
Motion?
Second.
Any questions?
I just had a quick comment. Here it is. It's not necessarily a donation, but it's sort of a donation of services. And so I did just want to thank Jen Force, sorry if I said the name wrong, for doing a presentation at no cost from Eat Cleanbro for the middle school students, as well as Lorraine Wright from Buck's Dog Training of Central Jersey for providing a no-cost presentation for the middle school students there.
Okay, anybody else? Ms. Allen, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Fabiano?
Yes.
Ms. DePayne?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes, sorry.
Mr. Gorham?
Yes.
Ms. Belko?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes?
Ms. Bora?
Yes.
And Ms. Skirby?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
I want to just once again thank the public that came out and remained for their generous time for our kids. We have just so many, and I call them kids because they're my kids, so many students that do great things, and we continue to do great things in Monroe, and it's a very exciting time. I want to, if I can just quickly have an opportunity to wish the board members that will not be continuing on after this board meeting well. It's been an absolute pleasure to work in combination and in collaboration with the tremendous support in making some changes. Change is never a good thing when people are nervous about it, but sometimes change is necessary. We can't continue to do what we do just because we've always done it. Sometimes we need to look at things and do things a little bit differently. So I want to say thank you to everybody for all of their service and their time. It is constantly said, which is true, that it is voluntary. You all volunteer, and you volunteer a lot of hours and a lot of time. And I know that as in the role as president, it's a tremendous amount of work. And I want to thank Ms. Skirby for all of her time and efforts in making sure that she had appropriate information and a lot of questions. And I want to wish congratulations to the new board members, and I know that there'll be a change in May. And the most important thing is that we really are here for children. We're here for the kids, and I wish you all, for those of you that celebrate the Passover holiday, I do wish you a good Pesach, and just like I always wish those that celebrated all the other holidays that have come and gone. Passover's a little late this year. It has probably something to do with the moon and the sun and the solar and everything else. So I wish everyone well, and a good Passover. As you, I don't like matzah, so I guess I'll just have to give up the bread. No carbs, don't like matzah. So thank you all very much, and I hope that we continue to do great things. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Allen, would you like to do your business administrator's report?
Yes, it is recommended that board action items A through L be approved by consent roll call under a 10-member vote.
Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Are there any questions? Ms. Ratner?
Yep. First, thank you to the Booster Club for their donation of the jerseys for the baseball team. I believe that was under there. That's what I was trying to find before, as well as I believe Mr. Tufano had thanked her as well, but Ms. Rosano for her donation, which is listed there. And then I did just have 2 quick questions about the bill list. One was regarding buses. I see that there are some items that are coach buses, which tend to be expensive, you know. Is there a process that's determined when a charter bus is used versus a coach bus? Like I remember when I was teaching, there was something about being out of state or something like that. So that was my first question. And my second question was just regarding the Haktifa school. Do we know how many students, and if we don't have the answer today, that's okay, but I do feel like the monthly tuition that's listed increased significantly from when we started looking at it by like maybe $15,000 per month. So I didn't know if that was an increase in the tuition or an increase in the students that were enrolled.
Yeah, so there was an increase in the students. So I think we started out with 29, and that went up to, it just went up to 32, but now I believe it's going back down again. Some students have withdrawn. So it should go, this tuition amount should go back down a little bit. Okay. Yeah. Okay, and then did you want me to discuss the buses or?
Sure.
So with the coach bus, it depends really on, if we don't have, first of all, if we don't have a bus available that in our own, one of our own buses, then we would go out. We have a contract with a company to do trips, so we would use them. And in the past, if a coach bus is requested, then that we could use a coach bus as long as we're within the under the bid threshold for that. The bid threshold. Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of our trips at the, in the schools, the school trips, elementary school trips, the parents are paying the cost of the busing for all of the trips. So the parents are paying for the cost of the trip, and the bill is coming into the school district, and that's why you're seeing on the bill list the payment for field trip buses, because the check gets written from the board office. But our field trips for our schools are paid by parents, including the buses.
It's money in, money out.
I know for the majority of the trips, that is, I would probably say most of the trips, that is definitely accurate. But I was also then curious, having run trips myself, maybe a decade ago at this point now, that can be more expensive for the parents as well. So that was the other part of it, because that cost is then being put to the parents for that higher cost for coach buses. So I was just curious if there was an aspect of that was all.
We tried to keep it down, the lowest cost possible.
Thank you.
Yes.
Ms. Fabiano?
Yeah, I just couldn't hear on the letters that you said. Did you say A through H?
I thought you said A through L.
A through L.
Oh, because on the agenda that I have for 10 member, it's A through H.
I have A through J.
I have A through J, too.
I have A through.
For 10 member?
I have A through H.
I have
No,
A
I
through
Oh, 9.
A through,
9.
yeah, you know what, you're right. It is A through H.
A through H,
A
right?
through
Yeah,
H.
that's what I have, is A through H.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, to here.
Yes.
Yeah. That's right, because this is 9 member, yeah. Are there any other questions? All right. Ms. Allen, may we have a roll call?
Yes. Ms. Fabiano?
Yes.
Ms. Belko?
Yes.
Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Mr. Gorham?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. DePayne?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes.
Ms. Bora?
Yes.
Ms. Skirby?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
And it is recommended that board action items M through O be approved by consent roll call under a 9-member vote.
I think that's I, right?
Yeah, I through J.
I through J.
Wrong, okay. Mine got updated.
You got the old one.
Yeah, I got the old one. I through,
I have I through J.
I through J? Okay, thank you. Yes, so under I through J.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second.
Are there any questions? Ms. Allen, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Ms. Belko?
Yes.
Ms. Ratner?
Yes.
Ms. Fabiano?
Yes.
Ms. Alvarez?
Yes.
Ms. DePayne?
Yes.
Mr. Tufano?
Yes.
Mr. Gorham?
Yes.
Ms. Bora?
Yes.
Ms. Skirby?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, thank you. And that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. The next item on the agenda is the board president's report. I want to congratulate our teachers and staff of the year again, and all of the students that we honored here tonight. Truly, they make our district the best that it is. That is what it's all about. I have proudly served on the Board of Education for the last 3 years, and tonight I want to say thank you. Thank you to Ms. Belko for serving on the board with me. When we ran 3 years ago, we ran to make change. I think you and I are both pleasantly surprised at the amount of actual change we've made. Change for the betterment of our school district. Today, students have more opportunities across the entire district, from enrichment at elementary schools to more AP, honors, and dual enrollment courses at our high school. The administration is much different than when we came on the board, and that has truly been the best change of all to our school district. When I first ran for the Board of Education with Ms. Belko and Ms. Spearman, we had only planned to do it for one term, make changes, and then move on. I struggled with the decision to run again this year, and I'm happy that I did. I had the opportunity to meet so many people in our community the last few months that value education and all that our district offers. I learned a lot about why so many are disenfranchised, and I understand their frustration. I am blessed with a loving family that, although they wanted me to walk away, they stood by me through it all. They are my rock, and I am forever grateful for them. Being a public servant is not easy. I served my community for the last 3 years, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to do so. I have no regrets. I ran to make change, and that is exactly what I did. I was part of Change We Need, and we did what we set out to do. Every decision was made for the kids, as it should be. A new page turns today, and that is not the end of my story. It's just the beginning of the next chapter. Ms. Belko and Mr. Gorham, thank you for your service on the board, and I wish you all the best. And Katie, we have a plaque for you to wish you the best. It says, presented to Katie Belko, in sincere appreciation for the dedicated service to the students and schools of Monroe Township while serving as a board member of the Monroe Township Board of Education, January 2021 to April 2024. All right, and that concludes my president's report. We have other board business next on the agenda. Ms. Bora?
Should I give you the chance to go first today, or do you want to go last?
It doesn't matter to me. Chrissy, thank you. Thank you very much for this. I will proudly display this because despite the service and despite a lot of the things that happened and the ridicule that we've taken and the downright abuse at times by the public at the podium, I am proud of the service that I have given to this community. Over 10,000 of you in this community voted for me and my colleagues when we ran. We ran in the middle of a pandemic, which was very difficult. We couldn't have any public forums. We couldn't go and knock on people's doors. They probably would have not opened them. People were afraid to even sit in the same room with their own family who may have gone out and ventured into the world. It was a scary time for all of us, and it was a scary time for us trying to run for the board. And I ran because a friend asked me, and I stepped up. And I've always thought that service on the Board of Education was something I would like to do one day, and I'm glad that I had an opportunity to do it. And I don't regret a decision that I have made. I made every decision carefully and thoughtfully and with intention, and I am proud of the service that I've given to this community and to this town. I think that we have an amazing district. We have amazing teachers. We have some things that, of course, any district would have, some opportunities for improvement. There's always opportunities for improvement, and I've always said that. I said before, my service on the curriculum committee was one of my favorite things to do. I think I brought some light and life to that. That committee was a half hour long. It is now an hour and 15 minutes long because there's a lot of good discussion that happens there. It's curricular, co-curricular, clubs, and we have some really good, healthy discussions and decisions that come out of that committee, which is the basis and the bottom line of what we do here, is teaching our students, working with our staff to give them the professional development they deserve and that they need so that they can provide the exemplary education. And tonight, what an example of what we have. We have scholars getting biliteracy seals on their diploma. We have our board of representatives getting scholarships and going and doing, incredible internships there. We have all of these student athletes who, being on a team and going through things, that teaches them an absolute lesson. And I've had the wonderful opportunity of working with all the supervisors, the principals, and all of the folks, just getting good things happening here and moving along. We've helped give suggestions to administration, and appreciate the administration for all the work and the collaboration that we have done here on the board, and even all my fellow board members. This is not an easy job. This is not an easy sat. We may not agree with what, with each other, but we have to work together. And I hope for those that were elected yesterday that you come in with that open mind and with that ability to work with people and to work with our superintendent and the administration. She has an amazing 5-year plan. She has an incredible vision, and she really has the best heart of the children in mind. And I really think that she will take this district into good places and to places where our students will really learn and grow. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you. I appreciate you, and I appreciate what this board does. And let's do good things here. Let's not make it about anything other than the children. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ratner?
Gotcha. So first of all, I was going to put this at the end, but since you just mentioned it, I will just say thank you to the people who are on the board. As you said, it's an unpaid position. It is at times a thankless position. And so I think anyone who puts the time in, it's not easy. To the board members that are coming in, I look forward to working with you. I think that the best thing we can all do is come together. As you said, we need to all work together for the best interest of everybody involved. On that note, I did also want to congratulate everyone who received an award tonight. One of my favorite things, I think, having been on the board for a couple of years now, is that Teacher of the Year dinner. I don't know what is in those millionaire shortbread cookies, but I want that recipe because it's my favorite dessert, I think, out of everything I've tasted. I would just eat those. Probably shouldn't, but I would. And then also to the performers, thanks to the high school jazz band for performing, as well as the elementary percussion ensemble, I guess is what they were called, because there was multiple elementary schools, so thank you to them. I did appreciate hearing the Holocaust essay. As someone whose daughter is getting bat mitzvahed in 2.5 weeks, which is driving me crazy, but that's besides the point. This is something that's constantly on my mind about, what it is to be Jewish, and it wasn't just Jews, and that's all for another time. But just hearing it and hearing the students learning about it, I really did appreciate getting to hear that. I did get to see the middle school musical Shrek, which happened the day of the last board meeting. And so I just wanted to say they did a fantastic job to the students and the teachers that were involved there. I'm actually going to see Romeo and Juliet tomorrow. In my free time, I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. So we're actually taking the troop to see the performance tomorrow. And so I look forward to that. And then finally, I also just wanted to share a little bit about some of the resolutions that I have been having the pleasure of reading as part of the School Board Association Resolution Subcommittee. I won't read them all to you because each one's 10 pages long, and there were 15 of them, which is the highest amount they've actually had since 2001, I was told. So it's a lot of reading, but I sort of enjoy it, I guess. And I did just want to share some of the highlights. So there's one township, Clinton, which has a resolution that's requesting money be set aside at the state level for survivors of sexual assault, because many districts are dealing with legal issues regarding sexual assault lawsuits that stem back from decades ago, and it's becoming, for a lot of districts in the state, quite expensive. And so all of these resolutions basically are things that are then, if approved, brought to the New Jersey School Board Association Delegate Assembly, and should that be approved, then it goes into their policy manual and is sent to the legislators at the state level. So just to explain where that goes. There was a resolution from Denville about electric school buses and being able to use some of your either your banked cap or additional money besides the 2% to start spending money for there. Plainfield submitted a whole slew of resolutions. I actually told their rep how impressed I was, because I think they had 5 or 6 resolutions submitted for this one assembly. One of them was about flexibility with virtual learning. So if a school district, because we know that that policy at the state level had changed, so it's a matter of, leaving it at the local level. If you feel like you need to be remote for certain reasons, having that ability to do so. One, which I know Ms. Bora had spoken about this after the school board, I want to say conference, but it's not, it's workshop, was artificial intelligence and creating district policies for artificial intelligence, because that's becoming very important, as well as a 2% cap resolution pertaining to what special education out of district can increase their costs on a local school district level, because we're very well aware of 2%, but a lot of times they increase it higher, and it adds up. And then Toms River also submitted a couple of resolutions. One was mandating full-day kindergarten. That one's coming. We had 3 meetings. One more. It's one tomorrow. So that one's tomorrow because we don't have to go there, but it's about mandating the funds to provide for it. A resolution about pilot programs, payment in lieu of taxes, I think it is. That's something I don't really know as much about as I'd like, but as well as a 2% resolution. They're one of the districts that is S2, so theirs is focused more on that. But I did just want to share a little bit about it. Once we have that handbook and then we have the delegate assembly, obviously we can look at it a little more in depth. So.
All right, thank you. Mr. Payne?
Yes, I just want to piggyback on what Dr. Chanley said about the Unsung Heroes program tomorrow night. Middlesex County School Boards Association has been honoring students, 2 students, a junior and a senior, but sometimes some of the schools pick different, every year for 38 years. Not with cookies and coffee, with a full meal, full honors, schools are invited. We have 300, and I was elected first vice president last year of Middlesex County School Boards Association. We have 312 people attending tomorrow night, and we are honoring 60 well-deserving students. I used to attend years ago when I was on a different board, and that was my favorite, besides all this honoring tonight, that was my favorite night, to go there and honor those 2 students that the districts had to go and pick and put them up on a pedestal for the one night. So I'll be there tomorrow night. I'm going to be announcing some of the names. Sharon Miller's president, and she's worked so hard to get this ready for the students, and all we want to do is honor them in the highest honor that we can tomorrow night. So it will be a wonderful night for me and all of our students, and for you, and anybody, and all the parents that come there with their children, and all the representatives from the school. It's going to be a wonderful night, and it's all because Middlesex County has been doing it for 38 years. The only county in New Jersey that takes care of their unsung heroes that way. So I wanted to give them credit.
Mr. Gorham?
First of all, I'd like to congratulate all the students and the teachers and the paraprofessionals who got awards this evening. It's nice to be recognized, and the dinner was really nice, and it was just a great opportunity to see, Monroe's finest in action. It was also a pleasure. I lost count at 40, but all the awards tonight, I counted 40 students that were once in my class, and it's really crazy to see a student who was once a 6th grader, 11 or 12 years old, and now I see these young adults coming up to the microphone and achieving such wonderful things. And it's really fascinating when you look at the programs that we have to offer, things that weren't available when I was a kid. And it's really wonderful that these kids are really taking advantage of it. What I found the most interesting, though, because I'm a history teacher and that's what I love the most, was the fact that we had a connection between a gentleman in the community who is passionate about the Holocaust and the time and effort he spent with my social studies supervisor, Danielle Drust, who's a very nice lady, does a great job, and the effort that they put in. And they wrote about something that happened a long time ago, and it should never be forgotten. And it's nice to see that it is not forgotten by our children today. So that was a wonderful presentation. I'd like to thank everybody up here. I've only been a board member for a short time, 6 months. Sometimes it feels like longer, but it was only 6 months. And for those people who won the election yesterday, congratulations. Good luck. It's an eye-opener when you get on a board. It's different than probably anything you did before. And I thought I had a good understanding being an educator, but being on this side of the fence is very, very different. So good luck. To Chrissy, thank you for all your help and all your guidance as serving as the president. I leaned on you a lot for information. You were great. Dr. Chanley, you know how I feel about you and the program that you have, and it's really wonderful to see you go from being, you know, my administrator to now superintendent of such a wonderful school. Dr. Lehman, my principal at the Woodland School, right? So he took over for Vic Siriano, and he came in, and he was a youngster then, right? But he was a Marine, so I always had respect for him. And it's good to see what you're doing today, because I appreciate you. Mr. Gagliardi, pleasure meeting you, and your advice, you know, very well spoken, and the board is lucky to have someone like you. And all my fellow board members, I appreciate the job that you do and the effort that you put in, because we are volunteers. And, you know, the only thing I would ask is that, you know, new board members, existing board members, you know, someone mentioned it before, it really is about the kids, and I know that all of you feel that way, but not to get sidetracked, you know, just really focus on the important things. And I know sometimes that's hard, but I just wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity to serve on this board.
Mr. Tofano?
I'll save the best for last.
Oh, thanks. I want to thank Matt Gorham for his short period of time that he spent on the board. He's a stand-up guy, and I want to thank him for throwing his hat in the ring again for the election. I want to thank Katie Belko. She's always been an excellent board member. She's always been a great friend to me, and she's an excellent mom. And I'm glad that she was on. I served on that board on this board with her, because she was very effective, very forceful in her opinions, and her opinions, 99% of the right were correct ones in my opinion. And thank you for all you did. Chrissy, you've been a board member for 3 years. Thank you for not being influenced, intimidated, or bullied into making the wrong decisions or decisions you didn't feel were in the best interest of our students. You have not only volunteered your time on the board, but you've been an advocate for our students for over 20 years. And there's not too many people in this community that can say that. I remember before we were both board members sitting in that audience with you all the way in the back, and we both fought very hard for what was right for this district. You did not lose that election yesterday. Propaganda and lies won that election yesterday. And I thank you for your service. And you could giggle all you want, because you're the head idiot. But thank you for your service. Don't let anybody take your magic away, because you deserve every minute of it.
Thank you.
I want to say it was an honor to attend the teacher appreciation dinner today. The dinner was fabulous, and the best part of being the board member is to see how accomplished our district is in terms of the staff we have and what our students are doing every day. Students at all levels, all aspects of education. So we are definitely a very blessed district. I want to thank the 3,825 community members that voted yes to ensure Monroe School District did not make any cuts in programs or services for the coming school year. With districts surrounding us that get far more money in state aid going down the route of cuts, it is relieving to be able to say today that we dodged that bullet this year. Our fight for fair funding needs to continue, and I urge those of you that got involved in this conversation over the past month, Whether you voted yes or you voted no on this question, come together now to solve the root cause of this issue. Use the advocacy toolkit on our website to send letters. The Senate is discussing Bill 3072, sponsored by Senator Vin Gopal, to help school districts who are struggling to stay within 2% cap due to lack of funding. It will anger you all, just as it does to me, that Monroe is not listed in that bill. $100 million in aid could be distributed to our neighboring districts who already get millions more than us, but we will not even see a penny. That can change. Call Senator Greenstein and ask her to do everything in her power to advocate for her constituents. I want to congratulate Mr. Pirro, Mr. Zeichner, and Ms. Sharma on their win last night, and I look forward to working with them on this board for student success in the coming year. I want to thank Mr. Chituri, Mr. Gorham, and Ms. Kirby for running for the elections and showing they're committed to volunteering their time for student success. Mr. Gorham, while I have known you only for a few months and only through the work we have done together on the board, it has been a true pleasure. You've been a strong advocate for the students and the staff, and I'm grateful that you chose to step up for this position. Ms. Belko, Monroe School District is better today for having had you on the board for 3 years and 3 months. Your passion for accountability, process management, professionalism, and above all, your leadership in curriculum has been inspiring. You brought good change, much needed change, in many little aspects of board work that it will remain your legacy for years to come. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for your service. Mrs. Kirby, I have known you for exactly a decade now. I met you for the first time right here in a board meeting when Monroe was discussing redistricting. A very good friend of mine knew I had a lot of questions and was not getting answers, and she pointed me towards you and said, if anyone here knows, it's her. Go ask her. You were very pregnant with your 3rd child and had 2 young kids, and you were still there sitting in the corner answering someone's questions. We met briefly, you had the answers and explanations I needed, and I left very impressed with the person I had met. Our paths crossed again very soon when redistricting brought you to Buckley Brook Brookside, and you took the role of the president of the PTA. And I was an active member and committee chair at that time. I was not on the board. This time, there were some fireworks. We did not align in our ways of serving the school community. And we did not see eye to eye on various issues, big and small. But we were both volunteers trying to ensure the schools were getting the support they needed from the PTA. There were arguments, even tears and moments of passion, vows to never work together as much as possible on both sides. I try to share this history with anyone that cares to listen, because when it comes to working for the community, you can and should be able to work with whoever is working alongside you for that cause, whether or not you get along with them, whether or not they work like you or have the same ideologies as you. It is a rare breed. People who give time selflessly because they care too much to look at something that is wrong and still walk away. People who will make a scene, make others uncomfortable, get publicly ridiculed, but stick to their ground because it is the right thing to do for the greater good. Chrissy Kirby, you are that rare breed. Whether it was lead pipes and Applegate issues with asbestos or the fight to fix its roof and HVAC despite failed referendums, you fought hard. Whether it was middle school referendum back in 2018 that would have taken away from Applegate and high school issues and given us an extra building today that we have no funds to operate, you did your part. Whether it was lack of transparency in board operations or lack of accountability in financials, you asked tough questions and you demanded change. Finally, you ran to get a seat on the board to then spearhead the change yourself. Videotaped committee meetings archived and accessible for full accountability. Board financial processes changed with your leadership team for better accountability of taxpayers' money. Setting up community engagement and legislative action committee. Pushing for alignment of our graduation guidelines with the state to allow our students more opportunities than they've had in the past. You spearheaded the work it took to ensure our taxpayers made the decision on these cuts, not as a board, and not us as a board. This, Chrissy Kirby, will be your legacy, that no programs were cut while you were on the board. In the last 9 months as a VP, I have seen up close the dynamics of the relationship of the board president and the superintendent. I have seen the back and forths and the pushback that are contrary to the public opinion of a close friendship. I can go on and on, but I want to be mindful of this monologue of mine. You brought change and changed the status quo. Thank you is not enough. I still have days of intense arguments with you, and we still get angry at each other. Never publicly, though. And I respect that we both know we are putting our perspective of what is right for our students first. We're not always on the same side, no matter what the public may think, but we have still managed to work together as a united front and as a leadership team for the last 9 months, and have accomplished great things for our students. I hope to see you on the other side of the room soon, holding me accountable for my actions, but of course, only after a much-needed break of self-care that you deserve. Thank you from so many of us here in Monroe that have benefited from your years of dedication and service.
I'm proud to call you my friend, Ghazala, and thank you for your dedication.
Publicly friends.
Always friends. Ms. Scott?
Again, basically same sentiments as everyone else. It was a wonderful staff recognition reception tonight, and to recognize the students. Thank you, Matt, Katie, Chrissy. It's been great working with the three of you, and you've been an exceptional board member for the past 3 years. You always keep everybody making sure they follow your course rules.
Robert's rules.
But yes, thank you to all three of you.
You were great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? All right. Next item on the agenda is our public forum. Anyone wishing to address the board, you have 4 minutes. Come up, state your name and municipality.
Oh, it's not on.
No.
Hi, my name is Teja Levitt.
The mic's not working.
Is there a way to turn it on?
Oh,
there we go. Okay. Hi, my name's Teja Levitt. Just give me a little bit of grace because I'm a little nervous. But I just wanted to say thank you to Chrissy. I am here on behalf of our entire baseball team. We wanted to say thank you so much for everything you do for us and all the families. I'm going to read you the speech that everybody had written together. So over the past 3 years, Chrissy has navigated the challenges of governance with grace, always putting the needs of our students and educators at the forefront. Her tenure has been defined by a commitment to excellence and equity in education, and her accomplishments speak volumes about her leadership. What truly sets Chrissy apart is her deep-rooted connection to her community. For the past 2 years, many of us have come to know her through our town baseball team, where she has not only supported our players, but has also celebrated invaluable insights about our community and its diverse tapestry of cultures, traditions, and dreams. Chrissy has not only been an exemplary leader, but also a joyous presence to be around. Her infectious laughter and vibrant spirit has made every game a memorable experience, reminding us that dedication and fun can go hand in hand. We often have discussions on the field about special education and advocating for our families. I am a physical therapist in the New York City Department of Education, so all the questions I have, I go to Chrissy, and she has most of the answers for me, so it's really nice to see that. In her time as board president, Chrissy achieved what many deemed impossible. She balanced the budget, which is a feat that required fiscal responsibility. Under her guidance, we have witnessed the most favorable teacher contract in the last 25 years, a testament to her ability to foster collaboration and mutual respect. Chrissy's dedication to shared services has not only saved costs, but also resulted in tangible improvements, from renovations of Applegarth roof to overhaul of the HVAC systems, ensuring safer and more conducive learning environments to our students and staff. But Chrissy's impact extends far beyond financial matters. She has been a champion for academic excellence, spearheading initiatives to increase advanced placement courses and broaden graduation requirements, thus providing our students with greater opportunities for success. Chrissy, though your time as board president may have come to an end, your impact will endure as a beacon of inspiration, hope for all who have the privilege of knowing you. Thank you so much, Chrissy, and thank you, Mr. Gorham. I would like to, I know that you were one of my son's teacher, and I'm just really sad that my younger son is not gonna have a chance to meet you, but thank you for everything you do. Thank you to all the board members, and good luck to like the new board members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Joe DePayne again. 3 quick questions. You don't even have to answer them, but I just want to say them. Ms. Chanley, I've been coming here since she got elected. This is the most I've ever seen you talk. So that was pretty good. You got excited, you talked, pretty good. Ms. Skirby, when Gail first got on, and I wasn't going to say this, I figured maybe I see you someplace, but you're not here. In March of her first time, Gail kind of like corrected you in a polite way. Said, no, that's not the way it's done this way, blah, blah, blah. You got through. Then, after the meeting, you go over and ridicule her, stating that, you know, what are you even doing here? You're a senior citizen.
That
you don't
never
have
happened, and I'm
anybody-
sorry, I'm not going to allow you to sit here and make up
That's
false
not a makeup,
accusations.
it's true.
No, it's not true. No, it is not true.
What,
And I
are you
addressed
God?
it back
Are
then.
you God?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry it's not true. It's not what happened, and I'm not going to sit here and let you disparage me like you and your friends have done for years now. I'm sorry.
Well, didn't I say some nice things to you when I came up to talk to you? I don't always say something negative, but this is something you said to my wife.
And it's been addressed. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll let it go, but I could sleep at night. I don't know how you do.
Oh, I sleep perfectly fine.
Good, good. And I'll get back to the superintendent again. I was amazed on the talk, what you do for salaries and everything like that. I know you can't, you know, if I was making $100,000 and there's no $100,000 on your scale, I can't do that for you here. But were you given the same treatment when you became superintendent? Did you say, okay, I don't have any experience, because you were never a superintendent. That's how you progress. You're taking the next step. So I just want to know, were you given the same treatment, or did they say, nah, we could put you way up here? You don't have to answer me. I was just asking. And my last thing I want to say is to Pete. You made it a remark to the audience. In School Boards 101, they tell you don't talk to the audience, but you in your own little world over there. Thank you.
And I will address the comment of the superintendent. When we hired Dr. Chanley, we did a superintendent search, and the board offered her or negotiated a contract with her. It was a very favorable contract for the Board of Education because it was not a very large increase from what she was making as a principal. What people don't understand in public education is the more years you're in public education, the higher your salary is, the higher you are on the guide. And when Dr. Chanley took that position as acting, it was a few $1,000s extra that we had given her for the acting, and when we negotiated the salary for permanent, it was not much higher than that. Dr. Chanley is one of the lowest paid superintendents in Middlesex County. This misnomer that she's the highest paid is ridiculous. We actually have her very cheap here, because if we didn't have her, she would be sitting in the middle school making pretty much the same amount of salary she's making now, and we'd have somebody in that seat making a lot more money than she's making today. So the misinformation about salaries and what this board has done is just flabbergasting. Anybody else from the public wishing to speak?
Hi, Roshni Shah, Monroe Township. First, congrats to the newly elected board members. I wish you well. I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank our outgoing board members for their contribution and service to our community. Mr. Gorham, while I have only met you a few times, I know that the experience that you have under your belt has made your valuable contributions in your short time on the board. I have also heard from many community members who have had you as a teacher in the middle school that you were one of the best they have ever had, and I thank you for your service to the community. Ms. Belko, I have watched you over the years asking the tough questions and always playing devil's advocate. There have been many committee meetings that I've watched virtually where I'm nodding along with you and grateful for always speaking your mind. Thank you for serving on the Board of Education for over the past 3 years. Finally, Mrs. Skirby, I am so grateful that you took this seat 3 years ago. I have seen you at the podium advocating for the children over the course of many years, and you have took all that passion and knowledge and have made so many positive changes to the district. The community is able to watch committee meetings live and access those recordings because you advocated for that change, for the sake of transparency. You signed every single check to ensure taxpayer dollars are not being spent without due diligence of the board. I do hope that this does not go back to status quo when the next board president assumes that seat. You've increased the number of AP courses and special education programs during your term. This year, you figured out a way to get Applegarth the facilities update it really needed for its roof and HVAC system without a referendum. Kudos to you. And last but not least, you balanced a budget without cuts and taken it to a public vote versus districts who simply made cuts without public input. Your departure is a huge loss for Monroe School District, but because people have no idea how much you've done in the last 2 years, more than most board presidents have done in a decade. I wish you the best of luck in whatever you do in the future, because I know you will move mountains. Thank you for serving this community.
Thank you.
Hi, Matthew Skirby, Monroe resident, also Chrissy Skirby's husband. I'm here tonight to provide a perspective on Chrissy's public service that nobody else can provide. As her husband and as a daily observer of the passion she poured into her role. Since 2007, when our oldest son entered kindergarten, Chrissy has been a passionate volunteer for our schools. She founded the Oak Tree, Applegarth PTA, and the middle school PSA, and led significant fundraising through those organizations to improve the experience of the students in those schools. She led the advocacy efforts to address the unsafe conditions of Applegarth from asbestos and lead, successfully getting that school closed for a year to remediate, which helped every child going through Applegarth since that day, including our youngest son, who now attends there. I wish I had time tonight to share the many other efforts of her volunteerism and advocacy, but that would take all night. After attending most board meetings between 2007 and 2020, she became alarmed by many things happening in the district. In 2020, she ran for the Board of Ed on a platform of change and was elected with the most votes ever garnered by a Board of Ed candidate. Since then, she has tirelessly worked to improve our district. There have been several high-profile administrative changes over the past few years, with much speculation, lies, and misinformation over exactly why. I, like other taxpayers, don't know all the confidential details outside of what has already been made public, but I know that Chrissy's deliberations on these issues were grounded in what was best for the kids and the taxpayers. These changes were absolutely necessary, and the town is better off for them. I challenge anyone to find another person that has put in or will put in as much time, energy, and passion into their unpaid volunteer board role. For the past 3 years, from the moment she woke each day to the moment she slept, she was working to find solutions to the issues of this district. She traveled to Trenton and Newark to speak to state legislators to get fair funding from the state, and called Senator Greenstein's and the mayor's office countless times to advocate for solutions. These efforts recently yielded an additional $6 million in state funding, which was a huge win for our taxpayers. This simply would not have happened without Chrissy's advocacy. This town doesn't have any clue yet what they lost last night and how big her shoes are that need to be filled, but they will learn soon. Thank you, Chrissy, for everything you have done for our schools, and I'm happy for you and for our family that you can now pursue endeavors where your efforts will be much more appreciated. Just one more closing thought. There are still many challenges facing this district. Our town is considered too affluent for our fair share of state funding, but it's proving exceedingly difficult to get our taxpayers to support necessary improvements. The mayor and town council continue to approve unabated new building in this town, and state laws prohibit forcing builders to provide funding for new schools to support that development. We've had 3 referendums fail over the last several years to try to address this explosion of development, which has left us with trailers in our parking lots, overcrowded classrooms, and a lack of funding for programs that other communities readily provide. Future boards have daunting challenges ahead, which luckily for my family will no longer fall on my wife's shoulders. It's easy to get elected, It's really, really hard to govern. Good luck to the next board in trying to solve that riddle, after promising our citizens a slashing of costs on an already stretched system. Chrissy delivered on her promises. Can the next board really deliver on theirs? Time will tell. Thank you.
Adam Elias, Monroe Township. Got cut off before, so I just want to get my last few thoughts in. Really, just again, a big thank you to the outgoing members of the board. Starting with Matt, you know, you came into the board at a time where I think most people would have rather slammed their head against the window, but you did it, and you've been sitting cool for the last few months. And when you speak some serious wisdom, man. I wish I heard more, got to hear more of you in the coming years, but I thank you so much for stepping up to the plate at a time when no one really wanted to. Kate, you are really, I think, the business backbone of this board. Like, you know, it's a business meeting, and you always understood that. I could say you probably are the one person on this board who really, really could not give a shit less about what anybody thinks about you. And you'll always say what's on your mind and do what's on your mind. You have beautiful children, a beautiful family, and the town's been so blessed to have you on the board. Thank you for your service, Kate. Chrissy, you know, I met Chrissy for the first time after and I lost 3 elections, not 4. But my first election that first time I ever came up here, I was just yelling and bantering. I don't think I even knew what I was talking about. And the next day, Chrissy called me and talked to me for a solid hour, educating me on the difference between the administration and the Board of Ed. And throughout the entire time I've known you, you've done nothing but educate me on how things go. And the passion, you know, speaks for itself. It's hard to follow up after your husband, but no joke, you were a full-time Board of Ed president. And that is an amazing, tremendous asset for the community. You know, in any political position, in any leadership role, there's never going to be everybody that's happy with what you're doing. And I know your heart's always been in the right place. I'm blessed to live in the side of town that you've served, you know, for years, that you've really tried to see a lot of change in. And I can't wait to say that my oldest kid will very much might be the first class going into the Applegar School. And I thank you for leading that effort so persistently over the years. To the rest of the board, I know this stuff sucks. I see what you go through, Kate. You know, I see it's a lot. And I'm staying positive. I'm hoping that we all, you know, can again come together as a community for the kids. We're not always going to agree with each other. This board, overall, I think really conducted itself as professionally as it could, despite its differences. I hope we can get the fight off of Facebook and into the actual, you know, administration and into the actual board meetings and have more productivity like these 2 young ladies here who are really giving us a lot of hope. Thank you so much for your service, and I'm excited to see the next chapter brings to all of you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Patricia Swalje, and I'm a Monroe Township president. I really didn't think I was going to have to say anything tonight, but I've heard a lot of comments about bullying, and I feel disheartened, I guess. Being on a board and volunteering on a board, and particularly a school board, it's a tough thing. It's a tough job, and I really appreciate people who come and they do devote their time and efforts to serving what we hope is public interest. I've heard, and I feel bad that the comments from public were described as being bullied. Community involvement should be welcomed, and sometimes people who are recipient of that community involvement may not like the way it is verbalized or the tone of somebody's voice, but it is community involvement. So since bullying has been brought up, I want to say as a member of the public that there are still members of this school board who will remain on the school board. And those members have flagrantly bullied the public. I, for one, in the last 2 weeks, very innocently presented my views on the campaign to the public. And for that, I was described in very vitriolic and vile terms. I don't appreciate that as a member of the public. that person is still going to serve on the board. So I am heartened that our new members on the board may have a different view and response to that treatment of the public. Because since I verbalized that treatment, I have heard from many members of the public, young parents with children in the school system, who have also been bullied and, quite frankly, threatened. And that should never be allowed.
Brian Fabiano, Monroe. You know, what I leave the departing board members with is this. Public service is not easy, but it's how you go about it that matters. You may have had accomplishments here on this board, but the way you conduct yourself is what the taxpayers and the voters rate you on. And I think yesterday the voters were very clear. So they're either blind to the things that you've done, which I find hard to believe, or they're just sick and tired of what the member just said here, the vitriol, the attacks, and the behavior. I mean, I'll be honest with you, the three candidates that won, Charles Eichner, Pete Pirro, and Usha Sharma, you can laugh all night long, Mr. Tufano, my time, not yours. Okay, right, so here's the issue, right? You talk about propaganda, and you've got a big mouth, but you help these people win. You help them win because you called them racist, you called them old, you called them Trumpers or Indians, whatever you said, right? But here's the fact. The community saw through it. They saw through it overwhelmingly. They got behind an educator that has 40 years experience, a police officer that worked in this town for over 30 years and then worked in the schools that was highly respected. And Usha, who's not here, who just left a little while ago, a finance professional who has done more in this community than you can do that you have in your left pinky. So I'll say this. I think the best times for this board are ahead. A board where people can work together and not be suppressed. There is no doubt that members of this board have had their ideas held down for as long as they've been on this board. Why? Because they weren't yes men or yes women for what you wanted them to do. So the people that are coming in, they didn't run on BS propaganda, as you said. They ran on things that they can actually accomplish to change this district. Let's not talk about fiscal responsibility and how great the money is. Listen, we just went out to a tax vote that I'm glad passed, but it cost us taxpayers, and it was the first time it was done in a decade. Well, actually, it was the first time it was ever done since the cap was put in place. So let's not pat ourselves on the back and say that fiscal responsibility is your accomplishment because you failed at it miserably. But I think as board members who remain here, no one's going to be able to tell you to stop going on Facebook and attacking and carrying on, because that's what cowards do, and you do it anonymously, and sometimes you do it under your own name. But we know who you are. And as members of this public, and parents said, when you drove Sean Dowling out of here, and when we came back up through this election season and saw your behavior, we told you then we would take you out, and we did. And when the next election comes, the cowards that like to attack citizens of the public on your voice page or whatever your junk is that you have out there, we'll take you out too. Because at the end of the day, it's the students, the staff, and the community that matter. And our teachers are not happy. I don't care what you say up here. Our teachers are not happy. Our students deserve a lot more, and our community deserves respect and transparency. And I hope it starts immediately with this new board. Transparency isn't not answering questions. Transparency is not laughing at people in the audience and not getting back to them when they have questions. So I appreciate your self-pontification here and how great you think you've done, but the community came out, they came out strong, and at the end of the day, that's what matters. And I appreciate the community doing their job. Thank you.
Seeing nobody else, we'll close the public forum. It was the lowest voter turnout in Monroe history. The community didn't speak. The next item on the agenda is our closed session resolution. Can I get a motion to go into closed session?
Motion to go into closed session.
In a second?
Second?
Okay, we're back in our public forum. The next item on the agenda is to adjourn the meeting. The next scheduled Board of Education meeting will be the reorganization meeting, May 1st, 2024. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.